everybody? It is Tuesday, 7 p.m. We got a great show. I think the whole crew's here back today. So, yep, see everybody in the green room. We got a Navy veteran. Let's get over and see what Matt's up to. Or let's see what's Al up to first.
What it do, baby? No, I'm good. I'm happy to be back. I know I missed the last couple of weeks, but we're back on track. So I'm here to fuck shit up. So let's do it. I'll kick it over to Matt. What's up, Matt?
He just finally got his fucking bail money. That's what it is. Got out of jail. Now he's happy again. He's here. But it is Tuesday. Everybody's in the building. Welcome, everybody, to the TTV Podcast. We can't wait to bring you the guests today, and we're going to take it right on over to Blake.
What it do, what it do, what it do. How are you? This is DJ Royalty in the place to be. Live in effect at the Triple Threat Bet Podcast with the whole crew. Ready to do what we do. So we're going to bring the fellas in, and let's begin. What's up?
What's happening? It's nice for everybody to be back.
Yeah, for sure.
So Al, where you been? Let's go ahead and
I told you,
get
he's
rid of
been
the
in
elephant
jail,
in the
bro.
room, man. Let's go.
So I didn't pay my child support checks, and apparently in the state of Florida, if you don't pay child support checks, they lock your ass up. So I'm back. I'm ahead on child support now. I'm back in. I'm out of the rears, so I'm doing good. No, I was. I had some Masonic stuff I was doing 2 weeks ago to get voted back into. Get to move from my Georgia lodge to my Florida lodge. So I was doing some Masonic stuff, and then last week I had family obligations. So I'm happy to be back, fellas.
Okay. So how was everybody's turkey or AKA birthday? How'd that go?
Man, it was Thanksgiving. It was good. You know, my mother-in-law can't cook greens for shit. You know, I should have. She can't. She's white, bro. She real honky white. She can't cook greens for shit. Them shit should have no
raisins
flavor.
in it?
Bro. No, I didn't. I know, right? Raisins and shit. She didn't have no season, bro. I knew it was gonna be bad. I got there. I seen it was in a crock pot for one. I was like, oh fuck. Didn't have no neck bone. No. There was no pork or smoked anything. So, no meat. There was no meat. It was just grains, bro. It tastes like grass. I was like, who the fuck?
You walked into the family dinner already pissed off.
Oh, yeah. Dude, I'm looking in there. I was like, where the fuck the ham hock at? Like, I'm stupid.
That was probably the best Thanksgiving dinner ever. I wish I was there.
Moving the greens. Now they fried a turkey. They smoked the turkey. They smoked the ham, and then they had another turkey. I'm like, who the fuck is coming to this Thanksgiving?
Who fried the turkey?
Her husband. He did good. That shit was banging.
Who smoked the turkey?
Same guy, Kent, the Army vet guy.
Same guy that he smoked and fried the turkey?
Yeah, bro. He smoked the turkey and the ham overnight, and then in the morning he got up and fried the turkey.
Okay.
In the kitchen. The ham didn't burn the house down, bro. You know,
maybe macaroni and cheese.
They didn't have no mac and cheese, bro.
Oh, snap.
I'm done. I'm done with white people's fucking Thanksgivings. I'm telling y'all that shit right fucking
Who made
now.
the stuffing?
It was catered, so it was good. The stuffing was on point.
Oh, Lord. So
my wife and her and her husband are retired professors, so they don't cook shit. They cater, and it was good. So they catered in from a company, a barbecue place out of Columbus, Georgia called Country's, and their shit was on point. So that shit was good, but the greens was sad. I was sad. My heart was broken. I stirred them greens for 6 hours looking for a ham hock. I ain't see that shit. She might as well took the grass clippings out the fucking lawnmower and boiled them bitches. That's what it tastes like.
What you have for dessert?
Now the dessert was on point. We had red velvet cake. We had peach cobbler, which was all homemade. That shit was good. Pumpkin pie, some sweet potato pie. No, we don't do apple pie in the South, motherfucker. I don't know where the fuck you're from.
What South do you live in? You don't do apple pie. What's wrong with you?
Best, man. I even do that.
The fucking dirty South.
Man, apple pie is what
it must be because y'all made greens in a fucking crock pot.
Man, them greens was sad. But I made greens like 3 days before that at the house. And I got suckered into buying fresh greens. Don't ever do that shit. Buy the ones that are bagged and already washed. And I made them, and they were good. I had my ham.
Hello, Mom Cobb. How are you today?
Mama Royalty,
you're here.
Mama Royalty's in the building.
Happy Thanksgiving to you, Miss Cobbs.
In the building. Yeah.
I bet your mama don't mess up
ties in here. Your son ties in here, Mom. You see your other son in here. Your son from the other bun.
Hey,
can you say that? It's like brother from another mother. You're the son from another bun.
That's right.
I bet your mama don't mess up no collard greens. I bet she. I bet she don't just boil grass. I know she knows what she's doing.
One thing I know for sure, right? One thing for certain, two things for sure. My mom could throw down in that kitchen.
See,
that's what happens.
Next year, I'm coming to your Thanksgiving, Scott. I'm ditching. No
question.
However, Thanksgivings.
Yeah, I didn't get to spend Thanksgiving with moms. Because she's in Colorado, I'm here. I didn't spend it. We're gonna make a change on that. We're gonna try to spend the next Thanksgiving home with moms and pops. Shout out to Pops. He's watching too. So Mr. Cobbs is in the building too, Ty. He probably on the couch. He does his big toe and his second toe like this. So he's probably flicking his toes. Right now, it sounds like two maracas rubbing together.
Like this?
That's what I'm talking about.
Sound like this?
Yeah. It's got that old rough sandpaper sound.
Oh, I got it.
He's in the
I
building.
Got them callous toes. Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
So how about yours, Scott and Scott, Ty, and Matt? How was y'all's Thanksgiving?
Well, go ahead, Matt. You do yours first.
It was good. Ate food and hung out. Then we went and drank some beer. So there's nothing else you could think about that one. It's a good Thanksgiving.
Okay. TY, what you had?
Man, I had all my kids over here, grandson over here. We ate the best macaroni and cheese in the history of the world. Had a great turkey, all this good stuff. No, it is. It's there. I proclaimed it. Best macaroni and cheese history of the world.
Wow.
Who made it?
My wife did.
Oh yeah, okay.
Best macaroni in the world.
Smart move, sir. I like that chess move you did.
Yeah. I like you trying to get lucky. I see
turkey.
what you're doing.
She brined the shit out of it, and I rubbed butter. I rubbed about 2 pounds of butter on that big ass bird. I was like, baby, come on, I'm gonna rub this butter on it. And we put that turkey in there, and that thing came out. And my kids said it was the best turkey that they had ever had in their lives. Now it was a good turkey.
You had a big,
really good. Yeah, we had a big ass turkey. It was, I don't know.
Matt, you had a big turkey. What kind of turkey you had?
Just regular. We had ham and turkey, but just a small and regular turkey.
Did you bake it? It was baked.
Yeah, we only had like
oven roasted turkey.
Yeah. Only had like 7 people.
Grant
me,
said it
Sierra, Cole, Becky, and then her parents and her brother and his girlfriend. So there was only like 8 of us. It's not a lot of people, so we didn't make as much food as Al catered into his Thanksgiving.
I'm telling you, bro, there was only literally my family.
How much food they make you bring back?
Oh, dude, I'm just waiting. I hope she's listening. I'm just waiting until tomorrow because my trash runs on Thursday to throw all the leftovers out, bro. I mean, I've got tubs and stuff. I'm like, this has got to go. I can't eat with so much ham in my life. And tomorrow, first thing in the morning, all that's going out to the street.
You brought them greens back with you? You know you did.
Bro, them greens. If she poured them, I think they were spiked by Satan. If you pour them into your yard, it'll probably kill all the grass, anything that lives in your yard. Like stuff will start wilting off the trees. That's how bad they were.
Wow.
So, sounds like everybody had a good Thanksgiving. Sounds like everybody had fun with the family. But we don't need to keep going too far because we could talk about a whole bunch of stuff, and we would never get to the special guest that we have in today. So I would say, Al, this is your guy, man. I think you should go ahead and introduce him. We should bring him on. What do you guys think?
Well, since you talked about live turkeys, I guess we got to bring in the jive turkeys.
Jive turkeys. There we go. So I'm super excited about this guest. So me and Mo go way back. So when I first came to Battalion, Mo was already there. He had been in the military for a little. He might have been an E4, even an E5. I can't recall.
Right.
But he's that guy, right? He's that leader who, like, you talk about give you your shirt off your back, give you good advice, take care of you, take you under his wing, all that, and then more, right? We weren't even in the same, I was in Alpha Company at the time. I don't know if he was Bravo or Charlie, but it took, just I gravitated to his leadership. I gravitated to his style and who he was. And he really kind of showed me the ropes and took care of me, kept me from doing a lot of stupid shit, right? Throughout my young career, making sure that he kept me on the straight and narrow. We played sports together. He's a hell of a fucking athlete all the way across the board. One of the smartest people I've ever met in my life. Like, there's probably not too much he doesn't know. And if he doesn't know, he's going to find out, but he definitely, loved his sailors and his CBs and took care of his team. So I'm excited to have him on. So yeah, without further ado, let's bring on my boy Mo.
All right, here we go.
Hey. Mo in the building.
Hey, what up, fellas? What up?
What's going on, man? Mo, I got one question for you, though.
Hey, he rocking the Thundercats now. That's what I'm talking about.
I got one question for you. Al said that you were already in the battalion when he got there. So the question that I'm dying to know, and everybody else may agree with me after I ask it, is were you the dude carrying the Sharpie? Made the line.
No, that was a Master Chief. That was the Spicy drew on the fucking face with a Sharpie. That's if you're
you
out
saw
there,
how he laughed when we asked that. He's probably standing there.
I got something for you. If I catch your ass, Master Chief, I got something for you.
No, that brought me back, man. That brought me back immediately, man. Hey. I can already say we're gonna have some fun here, fellas, man.
There we
Happy to be
go.
here, man. Yeah. Thank you for having me, man.
Yes, sir.
I'm here to
For
tell
sure.
the whole truth, and everything about Al Hero.
Yeah, shit.
Yes.
Don't do
Look,
that.
those are the best ones. Don't leave nothing out.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think that I don't know. You probably tell us some stuff and we wouldn't even tell you we don't believe it. We'd be like, yep, that probably happened. 100% it happened. There's not many stories you can tell about Al Hero where people are like, you making that up. Like,
but what I have is some origin stories. Every villain
Yeah.
has their origin story.
Every
Yeah.
The origin, man. We
Yeah.
wreak havoc. We wreak havoc in that
There you
battalion.
go.
Yeah. I can tell you some stories about the Alpha Company Wolverine, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alpha Company, baby. That's where it's at.
Woo.
So, Mo, before we get into Al's stories, we would like to know about your story. So, if you wouldn't mind, can you introduce yourself to our audience? Tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of where you grew up, what it was like growing up, and then lead yourself into what had you join the Navy.
Yeah, easy, man, easy peasy. I do this standing on my head, man. So I like to refer to myself as a West Coast bad boy, man. I was born physically in Seattle, Washington, to a young girl. My mother was 13 years old when she had me under some dire circumstances, and from that point forward, man, everything was pretty much topsy-turvy. I've spent pretty much most, if not all of my life outside of military travels and military dependent travels in between Washington State and California, Bay Area roots, and down here in Southern California. I've been here on and off for about 14 years. And so, what I like to reflect on when I'm thinking about my upbringing is that I was, in a sense, that good kid that turned bad. I grew up in a pretty sheltered environment, meaning that there was a lot of stuff going on in my community. Unfortunately, all of my family members, and I mean all of them, with the exception of maybe one or two aunts, at some point has battled addiction with drug and crack cocaine. And so I knew there was a lot of stuff going on around me. My uncles were engaged in lightweight pimping and things of that nature. And so I'm in this environment and I understand these things are going on, but I don't know that they're bad at this point. All of my aunts and uncles dabbled in the street life, whether it be in the dope game or in, pimping and things of that nature. And so I saw little small bits and pieces of their life and kind of gravitated to that. But they did a good enough job of keeping me just far enough away to where I wasn't really adversely impacted by that, except for my mother. Unfortunately, she battled with alcohol and crack cocaine addiction pretty much all of my childhood. And so her and I had a kind of tumultuous relationship. But as a kid, I was curious, man. I always wanted to know what was going on. I always wanted to be on front center stage. I always wanted to be the center stage. And I always asked too many questions. And so that kind of got me in trouble. Always had the best of intentions. But when you're in an environment where, it's high stakes and the dysfunction is normalized, you kind of don't know what you are not supposed to do. So my fondest memories growing up was being around my mother. And unfortunately, she put me in quite a few testy and dangerous types of situations. Before I knew it, she was engaged in street activities and a little bit of lightweight prostitution. So she would introduce me to the other working girls that, that she was running with, and always introduced me to them as my auntie. So when I was a kid, I thought I was the luckiest kid in the world, because I'm around a bunch of ladies, and beautiful women at that. And so everyone was my auntie. And I remember, that whole environment, them getting dolled up and my mother, leaving me to go out and do, whatever she did and then coming back. I didn't understand at that point in time that wasn't a normal way of seeing things, and that we were in a great deal of instability. And so my grandmother and my mother battled a lot about where I should be at. And I grew up always asking questions and never getting answers. So the, key typical young boy growing up in any urban environment, any hood in America, who was my father? No father. My uncles weren't father figures. They were too busy battling their addictions and dabbling in their street life. And so I would ask questions that my grandmother or my mom just wasn't prepared to ask me. So that kind of got me in trouble quite a bit because I just wouldn't take no for an answer. And, I was always curious, and I had some wits about myself. And so when you have a kid that's in that kind of environment and they're asking questions, of course, you want to protect them and protect their, what's the word I want to use? Protect their purity. But
innocence.
my mother, and my innocence. Thank you. But my mother had me in some situations that when I look back, and when her and I used to talk about it a little bit before she passed, we both acknowledged like that was like that. I've been in places where they kicked in the doors. I've been in places that got battle rammed. I've been in situations where I was left in the house with friends or with family members, and people came and kicked in the door and robbed the place, and we had to hide under the beds. Those kind of things that no young person should ever have to deal with. But again, in those contexts, I still just didn't know that that's not a healthy environment to be in. I leaned into it, and so I grew up wanting to make everyone around me happy. So whatever it is you needed me to be, if I needed to be the class clown to get last, I was the class clown. If I had to be the robo thug, the studio gangster, I was the studio gangster in order to get, that attention from those my peers and my family members. But in my heart, I always knew that wasn't who I was, and so as I started making my own identity inside of my community, one thing that Al pointed out is that, I could play basketball. Basketball is my thing. So I kind of started getting protected by, my cousins and those in the neighborhood that was trying to steer me clear of selling drugs and stuff because they knew I played basketball. So I had a pass everywhere I went because they always saw me as the hooper. Now, I have plenty of names and plenty of monikers, but when I was growing up, everyone called me JoJo. So I was JoJo the hooper. Everyone see Joe. Oh, that's JoJo. He ain't about nothing. Get him out of his way. So they kept me from making a bunch of bad decisions that I was willing to make, but I was only willing to make those because I was just searching out for to have some acceptance and to actually have somebody shed light on my situation. It wasn't until I was an adult that my childhood, all the mysteriousness of my childhood and of my birth actually came to the light. And it was at that point things started making sense. But I always knew that I was treated differently by my family members. I always knew that in certain rooms or just would hear my aunts or uncles or somebody talking real slick about my mom and wondering why, my mom ultimately abandoned me and left me with my grandmother. And so, all of my aunts and uncles, they battled the same demons that my mom had. But the question was why was I in my grandmother's custody and not with her? Because, all of my uncles and aunts still kept their kids, they're all fighting against this hell of a drug called crack cocaine and fighting against, insurmountable odds in the inner city streets. But they still, kept their kids. And, some would argue that was great. And some would say, but then their kids had to deal with the dysfunction that goes along with that lifestyle. But for me, not having a father was a heavy burden. And then not having a mother in my life. And then knowing that my mother was in this state where she was, fearing for her safety and was in these spaces. I physically saw my mother get abused by the drug dealers that she would have as her boyfriends, because that lifestyle, prostitution and drug dealing goes hand in hand, in most cases. And so by the time I gained a little bit of stability and wasn't moving around as much, my grandmother, she was of a retirement age. And I remember her giving me this set of instructions. My grandmother, although heavily flawed, very, very amazing feat. She had 18 kids in her lifetime. Right. And so she by the time I came around, she already knew, like, either I'm gonna turn out or I'm not, you know what I mean? So so I was kind of wondering when I was a kid why she was so hands off with it. But you'd imagine that, when you have all kind of personalities come through your household and you're rearing them, you got to just let the kid be the kid. But I remember my grandmother told me two things when I was 11 years old. So she took physical custody so I wouldn't go into the system, right? And she said, I'm gonna let you stay in the basement. You're gonna have the basement, and there's two things that ain't gonna happen. You ain't gonna have no police knocking on my door, and you ain't gonna have nobody's mom or dad knocking on my door talking about you got their daughter pregnant. Outside of those two things, she just let me rock out.
Yeah.
Right.
And so where were you at growing up? Like where is this in California?
So my under my grandmother's tutelage was in Seattle, Washington. That's where the vast majority of my family has been based out of. But like every family, you have family members that move out, and so I had an aunt that moved out of town to Pennsylvania. I spent time way across in the East Coast in both Pittsburgh and Duquesne, Pennsylvania. And I got a lot of my flavor and a lot of my roots from the town, from Oakland, California, and that whole vibe and all that. So the fact that I moved around a lot, and for anyone that's moved around, sometimes you make a decision, either you just are rolling stone and everywhere is your home, and then sometimes you just kind of resonate and just gravitate to that one space where you have the better of the memories. You know what I'm saying? So when I remember, fast forward into the Navy, and people would say, where were you at? Where you from? And I'd be like, very, very reluctantly, like, I was born in Seattle, Washington. Right. That was just like, it just didn't feel right for me to say it,
Yeah.
Part of it was because, my time there just wasn't memorable, and it wasn't the best part of my life. Matter of fact, the worst parts of my life, if I'm to be honest with you, the worst parts of my upbringing was there in that city. And so, just for full transparency, I, like you in 2024, so you can identify as whatever you want. So I identify as a Rolling Stone, that just happened, to be born in that city. And so, but, if you know anything about the West Coast, from San Diego up to Seattle, it's all the same, right? And so, as I'm making my way through adolescence, man, I had this burden, and the reason why I frame it as a burden, not that it was something that I didn't want, but it was very heavy. My uncles were out doing their thing and in and out of prison and jail and all that good stuff, and just very much absenteeism. So I had the burden of having to take their sons or taking my cousins under my wing while I was still simultaneously trying to figure out this thing called life. And so by the time I was 14, I had 3 younger cousins that I had underneath me, and everything that I did, they did. And everywhere I went, I took them. And so I didn't really have that opportunity to just really, really bask in childhood and just figure out who I was. I had to be everything to them. I had to be father. I had to be the older cousin. I had to be a big bro. I had to be uncle, all those things with them. And so that caused me to realize at about 14 what influence is, because everything that I did, they wanted to do. And so, when I was going through my little phase of thugging, I'm coming through in Dickie suits, and, I got my Jerry curl, I got big bomber, triple fat goose coats on, I'm towing the line. I'm out there with the G's, but I'm not a G, know? And so I did just enough to keep the respect from them and to keep them, they giving me the pass. But then I got these boys underneath me, and they see me and everything I do. I'm playing hoops, they playing hoop. I'm playing football, they playing football, all that good stuff. But when I'm rocking around in these Dickie suits and I'm listening to my, our whole West Coast favorite, MC8, Spice One, all of them, they doing the same thing. And it took for my little bro, to come to the house one day, and he had on a Dickie suit, and he had the bandana tied around his head like Tupac. And I was like, oh, no, I can't. That's when I realized the level of influence that I had on them, because I'm just following after the fast. I'm raised hip hop. I'm raised West Coast. So I'm out, putting on the uniform that I see every day in my community. But I didn't realize that all they care about is just being accepted by me, and they want to be me. And I'm like, you know what? I don't have enough clout in the hood to be able to protect y'all if you out here without me and you looking like that. I got enough contacts for myself. My older cousins got me, but I knew at 15, 16, I wasn't no tough guy. So I could, if somebody ran up on them based on, what kind of shoestrings they got in their shoes or that stuff. Right. So immediately I switched up the whole pitch. I remember, unfortunately, and I don't glorify this in any way, but this is the reality. Never have I ever sold crack cocaine or any hard drugs in my life because of the fact that it has ravaged and destroyed the relationship with my mother, right? But I was selling weed back when weed was like considered to be like everything else, so I was on the low with it. I was selling weed like on the outskirts of the hood, because I had recognized that all the knuckleheads is in that crab, in the barrel mentality, and, right there in the community. And I'm like, man, I can go right here to the outskirts and sell to the Asians and to the white folks, and they ain't causing no problems. I get off all my packs, you know, and I'm good to go. You know, so with
I'm gonna
that
go
being
sell it.
said,
I'm gonna go sell it to people that want to pay that fair market value for it. I ain't gotta hustle
Right.
for it.
right. And then they want to smoke with you. They gonna treat you right. They actually thankful that you
invite you over for dinner.
Right?
Hey, you wanna get some lasagna?
Yeah.
We got it right there in the kitchen.
Mom, meatloaf.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. So I, you know, I had this little bit of money back then, and I had to find a way to kind of, you know, clean it up because my grandmother know I ain't got no job. So I said to say the moment that my little brother came in wearing a Dickie suit, man, he had just went school shopping. So he come in, he told me he got 4 or 5. I immediately went downtown and went to a store and just switched up my whole thing. I mean, I went Ralph Lauren, I went Pele, I went Nautica, I went what's it called?
Tommy Hilfiger.
No, Tommy wasn't. Tommy wasn't in yet.
Tommy, yeah.
See, I'm thinking 90. I'm talking about 90,
Yeah,
91
cross
time
colors, you
frame.
know, with cross colors.
Yeah. Cross colors. Eddie Bauer. So you know, so I went all straight yacht look. You know what I'm saying? I got the little Argyle sweaters. I got the polo. I got the polos on and all that stuff. Because to me, you know, the deck shoes, the Vans, all that stuff. Because to me, it scared the shit out of me. Because I was like, these individuals looked at me like Superman. I'm the older cousin, you know, older brother. But in reality, if we go out somewhere and somebody run up on us, you know what I'm saying? I can't do nothing. All my cousins is that's about that life. They locked up, you know, so I don't have that protection anymore. And like I said, I got passes because they know me as the Hooper. They don't know me as, you know, trying to be a gangster or a thug, you know, even though everyone in our community dressed like that, they just knew that about me. So I had to straighten up with that. So, you know, that helped me to just kind of like realize that every move that I make, I got to be very conscientious about how it impacts the people that I care about, the people I love. Right. Yeah. And by the time Al met me, all those ingredients had coalesced in me. Right. But I'm trying to paint a picture of when I was actually going through having these things kind of imparted into me. And as a young man that didn't know, you know, good from bad, right from wrong, this from that, I'm just trying to make it. I'm trying to survive. You know, I make my way through high school. I didn't have no plan to go play pro ball. I didn't have no hoop dream, no football dream. I was just in the hood, you know, just living and playing AAU and stuff like that. And so by the time it's time to graduate, there's no college in my future. You know, to be honest, I didn't know anybody up to that point that had ever went to college. I can't think of anyone that I came across that was someone I knew, you know, whether it's just in the community or a relative or even people that dated people in my family. No one had college anything on their resume. So I got out of school and went right to work. You know, my grandmother said, "Hey, you 18 now, you got to start pulling your weight," you know. And by that time I decided I was going to leave the weed alone and all that good stuff, because that kind of got me in trouble. I almost, you know, I did make a bad decision, but by the grace of God and just networking, I was able to steer clear of the bad decision. I was dumb enough to be selling weed at school, and had a couple of guys, dudes I thought that was down like me, you know, selling it with me. And it's the classic hood story. One of them get caught and give me up, you know. So one of the things that helped me, the only thing that helped me out as the principal at that point in time was my grandmother's ex-sister-in-law. She had been married to my grandmother's brother, my uncle. And so she pulled me in. She said, "Look, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, we got somebody that can place that you're the one that's bringing this to school. We also have our security that has you on camera, you know, walking away. The only thing we don't have is we don't have a hand-to-hand with you, but we got enough stuff to where we could actually expel you now." So she said, "Listen, there's about 10 days worth of school left. I advise you to go ahead and go home and tell your grandma Retha what happened. And if you show back up on my campus, I'm calling the cops." You know, so she could have just called the cops. And honestly, when I was talking to her, you know, I had stuff on me. So I dodged that bullet by her just giving me an opportunity to leave. I left, went home, told my grandmother a golden lie. It was like, "Hey, you know what? I want to play football. It's time for a change of scenery." You know what I'm saying? And so there's this school that's out here in the north part of the city, you know what I'm saying, where football is supposed to be good. So my grandmother didn't ask no questions. She don't know no difference. She went and put in a paperwork to transfer me there. And they said, "Hey, you know, it's the end of the school year. Can't do it now, but he can start at the beginning of the next year." So that was my exit out of the weed game before I actually did something stupid, that would have probably been some smut on my jacket. So I'm always thankful for that. But I say that to say, so I didn't have no income when I graduated from high school. So I just went right to work. I went and worked in a apparel store selling, men's clothing and shoes. And I did that for 1 year. But people in the community started changing, man. People were starting to grow up, young dudes just looking for a name and that kind of stuff. And I started noticing that, more and more people was actually looking at and checking out what I'm wearing and what I got on versus just greeting me and dapping me up and saying, hey, so I started feeling like it's starting to get funny around here. Like I'm getting this little bit of money and I'm buying some stuff and trying to look fly, and they looking at my stuff and trying to count my pockets and looking at my shoes and stuff like that. So I didn't have a bone in my body to be a patriot. No one in my family spoke highly of the military. Quite frankly, in the hood, we always figured that dudes that was crazy, 5150 went to the military. I had a couple uncles that, went to Vietnam.
True. It's partially
played crazy. He played crazy and got out, so I didn't, but what I had this this real concern, man. And I really, really started feeling like I'm either going to have to do something to protect myself, or somebody in my community is going to try and do something to me. And unfortunately, it was coming from my family. I have a big family. Like I said, grandmother had 18 kids in her lifetime and a lot of blood relatives, but not a real cohesive family. And so I started finding myself getting off the bus at that point in time, getting off the bus and I'm walking down the street and I see everybody hanging out on the block. And I'm like, nah, you know what? I'm not going to walk past here. I'm going to go ahead and double around the corner and go around the back way. Just started getting them vibes because when I'm walking around, I'm not out there hanging with them. So I'm not really, really in the loop with them. And so in the hood, like if you're not with the wolves, man, then you food. And I started feeling that way. So I had to make a real, life-changing decision. The recruiters had called me several times, man, the Army, Marine Corps, Navy. I remember telling the Navy recruiter several times, like, you wasting your time, bro, talking to me, man, because I don't got no sea legs. I done been on the ferry back and forth across, the water a couple of times, and I realized being on them ferries, man, that I just ain't got no sea legs. And he's like, so I would hang up on them, or I would, if they pressured me, I'd like, okay, I'll take your card. But I didn't think about it any time seriously. But a situation happened to me, man. I was on my way home on the bus from work, had on my slacks and had on my tie, but I had on my bomber jacket and had my Jordans on. I'm just chilling in the back of the bus, and this dude got in the bus that I knew, homie of one of my older cousins, but my older cousin's locked up at this point in time. So he finessed me, talked to me, and all of a sudden when it's time for me to get out the bus, he's like, hey, let me get them shoes. And I'm looking at him like, oh man, get out of here, whatever, And he like, no, not for real, hey, come up out them shoes. And he reached and, grabbed my shoe, and he older than me, several years older than me. And so I had to make a decision, a business decision, because I knew who he was. So, I get off that bus, man, a couple stops down in socks, bro, and walking down the street, and I'm like, nah, I can't go out like this, and I'm realizing that if my cousin had been home, that wouldn't happen. But what it told me is I didn't have that protection. I didn't have those kind of connections anymore, and so, I came back in, I called up one of my other cousins on the phone to tell him, and by that time he out doing this thing. He like, hey man, you shouldn't have let him take them shoes off your feet. We didn't raise you that way. So he already pressured me, making me feel like, I should have been willing to get shot for this shoes. Yeah. So at that point, I'm like, man, this is just not who I am in my spirit. I understand how to navigate through this because I got wits about myself, but this is getting a little bit too tricky for me. I don't want to do no bodily harm to nobody, and vice versa. So a recruiter just happened to have came into the store I was working in like 2 or 3 days later. I never remember his name. I never, you never forget the recruiter that recruited you's name. His name was MS2 Johnny Guy, that fucker. Right?
Yeah. Hey, look, he had the best recruiter name ever, Johnny Guy.
Yeah, Johnny Guy.
Got it.
So let me tell you, man, that man right there, man, hey, he should have got recruiter of the year the way he finessed me, man. He was cold-blooded. Black guy too, man. Black guy. Hadn't seen, all the other recruiters, man, had been white or Hispanic, man. First black guy seen him in uniform, man.
Hey, that dude was brand new to the recruiting station. They say, you need to go to the mall. He said, okay.
Yeah. So, so he tells me, hey, have you ever considered joining the Navy, man? And I'm like, look, man, I done talked to all kind of recruiters, Army, Marine Corps, all that. I said, I even talked to the Coast Guard recruiter. And I'm like, this just not for me, man. I'm not, pardon me, no disrespect, but my psychology back then, I'm like, man, military for white dudes, man. That ain't for, that ain't for black dudes. And he's like, no, I'm telling you, man. So he started asking me some questions and found out I lived with my grandmother. I said, hey, you got enough money to live on your own? No, so your grandma taking care of you? And I'm like, nah, I get money. Like, no, your grandma taking care of you at this point.
No, Valor.
Bro, no, I ain't Valor, bro. He was hitting them bridge skills, dude. He hit that bridge skill. Tell me this. He was like, close your eyes. Picture yourself, right? And then you got to put yourself.
No, watch this. It's cold. It's cold how we did it, though. So he like, now your grandma taking care of you. So how long you going to let your grandma take care of you? You get
man, guard.
Yeah, so I'm like, man, look, I'm out here working, so I show I'm working, here, and he like, that's some little money. He said, you got a car? Yeah, I ain't got no car, man. He said, okay, let me go ahead and show you my car right here. So I just happened to be getting off, he come outside, he got him at this time.
Oh no, he knew that's what time you got off.
Yeah, he got an Acura. So he got an Acura.
Don't tell me it's a Legend.
No, he had an Acura.
That was my car back in the day, Acura Legend.
Legend, all right.
So he like, let me tell you about the United States Navy. United States Navy gets you riding just like this. I said, man, listen, you wasting your time because I ain't getting on no shit, man. I done told everybody else I don't do well on water. And he like, no, we got plenty of other programs, plenty of other areas. They got the Airedales, they got the construction battalion, they got the what's the third one he told me?
Yeah, he was overcoming obstacles on your ass.
Yeah. So I said, I don't know. I said, I don't know anything about aviation. He said, yeah, they got different communities. They got the aviation community. They got the construction community. I said, I don't know anything about
firefighting community. Let's go. Let's get it.
Yeah.
Hey, real quick, before you move on, my brother just texted me. We were both in the Navy as well. My brother just texted me and said, tell him I made chief with Johnny Guy in San Antonio.
Oh shit.
That's
small
crazy.
world.
Small Navy.
Small world.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I mean, how many people in the Navy are named Johnny Guy?
Right.
Man, you can't be that.
Yeah. He was chief guy.
Yeah, he was an MS2 at that point.
That's
in time,
crazy, dude.
Jay, I'm gonna tell you, man. I'm sitting here listening to you. Mm-hmm. I'm sitting here looking at this screen, listening to you. Mm-hmm. And I swear, man, if you weren't saying it, like literally, with the exception of a couple of tweaks, we lived the same exact thing. The same exact things were happening. I'm talking like when you say it, it's almost like I'm like, damn, that's me. Except for I ain't gonna lie to you, ain't nobody ever took my shoes, big dog. We weren't doing it, but I understand. But this is the thing where people don't understand. This is the thing. I'm gonna be for real with you. What people don't understand is everybody says what they wouldn't do until that shit is in front of them and they're faced with a situation when they have to do it. So I'm not saying nobody took my shoes from me as a means to say that I'm better than you. I totally understand what it is that what you've gone through. Yeah. Now I have had somebody punch me in my jaw and I didn't do anything because of the person who did it. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I understand. Like you have, like you said, you have to make a business decision sometimes on how this is going to play out, because I knew I was wrong for the fact that he did it. But had I would have reacted the way he wanted me to react to, it would have been a whole different situation at the end of the day for that. So I understand what you're saying with that, man. But I'm sitting here thinking to myself, like, bro, we literally could sit back. My mom is in here too. My mom would tell you.
Said it. Your mama just said verbatim. I thought of you.
I'm telling you, because I knew all the gang members. I knew all of them. They knew me by name. I could hang out with them, but I never was jumped in to be solidified as that. And I was talking to my wife and Brooklyn and Donovan about how that works. So they're like, well, how could you hang around them if you didn't know? See, people understand. They know if you got squabbles or not. They know what they can and what they can't do.
You could be affiliated, but you could be affiliated, but not be putting in work.
You can be affiliated, man, because at the end of the day, like the friends I knew, they knew that I'll fight now. But what I couldn't do, there's a couple things I could not do. I could not go home and tell my mom and my grandma that I was selling drugs. There was no excuse for it. My mom worked 3 jobs trying to keep food in our belly. You know what I'm saying? My grandma would give me $20 in the beginning of the week so I could have lunch for school. There was no reason for me to say I'm starving, so I had to sell drugs. There was no reason. Even though everybody around me was doing it, I didn't have that reason. And I knew I could not look either one of them in their eye and say, yeah, this is what I was doing because there is no because. You know what I mean? So just like what you were saying, you have your things that what you will do and what you won't do. And that was my limit. I knew I couldn't do that. But rolling dice, fighting, gambling, all that kind of stuff, like, you know what, I did what I had to do in that realm. But I knew I did not have a legitimate reason to say, I'm out here putting my life on the line, selling drugs to people because there was no because. But, man, I'm telling you, I'm listening to you, man, and I'm sitting here like, my gosh, bro, we could run a movie simultaneously with just a couple of different bins, and we would be the same story. And we both don't have any hair, so I mean, it's
it's funny, Scott. You say that, but I'm listening to his story, and it makes a lot of sense to me, right? Because I met him in the military. Like I met him when all this had already happened, and I never heard these stories. I never knew this part of his life, but now it makes sense, right? It makes sense on why him being the person he was, and why he took me under his wing, and why he gave me so much love and attention, and made sure I was good and I was taken care of, and I made smart decisions. It wasn't just about keeping me out of trouble. It was about teaching me and educating me on like you said, making business decisions. And looking back now, it makes sense. Back then I was like, hey, you always on my ass about why, but now it makes a whole lot of sense. Now I see the other side of it for sure.
No, that's why they call it the Matrix, man. And the thing is that there's in many cases only a few degrees of separation, man. I mean, this is how God worked, man. At 16 years old, man, they took them shoes off my feet, man. But currently, I got 32 pairs of Jordans in my closet right now.
You go.
That was one of my questions today.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, you check my Instagram, J_, whole vibe. Hey, I run it through. I mean, I'm at my school that I teach at, my high school, they say that I'm the drippiest teacher on campus. Right? I got my whole shirts, ties, pocket squares, everything matched with the shoes and all that kind of stuff. But one thing you said that was interesting to me, man, is like you said, everybody has their forward limits, right? Everybody has their non-negotiables, and everyone has that thing where you got to step back and pause. I did just enough activity, man, to where I didn't have to worry about anybody trying to pump me out or mark me out or nothing like that. And I draw from those experiences when I'm working with at-risk youth. I used to go talk at juvenile detention centers and things of that nature. And when I told them more intimate details about how I could stay on the sideline, kind of like where I'm just affiliated, but I'm not really in the mix. And I said, I had strategies. I realized that I was really thinking, the fact that I didn't drink, and I smoked some weed, but I didn't allow myself to really be out of sorts. And I always had my wits about myself. When I'm hanging out with everybody else and they're blunted and they're high, man, it's real easy to just be deceptive with them. And we go out the place and have to go jump people. And I didn't want to put in that work, man. But it calls to go do that, so they have my back. So if I'm out and we jumping somebody, everybody else is doing the worst to these dudes, man. I'm just kicking them in the legs.
Get a little kick here, punch there, just so you can see you was there and active with it.
And then we go jump in the car and we smash off, man. And everybody's, everybody passing the bottle. I take me a little swig and I spit it right out. They ain't paying no attention, and I'm blending in, but I still made sure that I understood where I couldn't go. So when I'm getting this call and it's coming from my cousins, like, hey, we got about to go in this corner and do something I knew I didn't want to be involved in. So I'm gonna date myself, right? So I'm an 80s baby. So we all came up when you had the house phone, we had the landline, So they had 2 or 3 or 4 lines in the house and it's all the same line, So what I would do is I would just kick up some dust and it make my grandmother mad at me the day that I knew they wasn't gonna call me up. So my cousins or one of my homeboys would call me up, hey, we need to go in that corner, go blah blah blah. My grandmother just like clockwork, hop on the phone, who are you talking to? And I'm like, such and such. Oh yeah, grandma, can I go? No, you ain't going nowhere. You staying in this house. And so I would orchestrate. I would orchestrate that because if nothing else, they weren't gonna question grandma.
Saved by the grandma.
They're like, but I had to get to a point where I was just one step ahead of the bullshit, right? And so when I'm walking out and I'm talking to this guy, Johnny Guy, MS2, out in the parking lot, and he appealing to my manhood and to my ego and all that stuff. And he like, how much longer you gonna have your grandma watching after you, and taking care of you? And I'm trying to assert myself as being a young man. Then he hits me with this. So he's like, okay, look, tell you what. Before we even start talking about even going and take the ass rapper and that stuff, man, let's just kick it. Let me just see if you Navy material, because I don't know if you Navy material.
Right.
So I'm like,
Took it away from you.
so again, right there, I'm
from
like, okay, this guy right
Yeah.
here, he's trying to, so I'm
Yep.
yeah. So for the next, like literally for the next 4 days, he came pick me up. First day he picked me up, went to his house. He showed me the house like he's supposed to do. I don't know nothing
Yep.
about BAH or none of that stuff. He like, yeah, the Navy got me this. The Navy paid for this. You know what I'm saying? This right here. You know what I'm saying? This is all the Navy right here. You know, I ate with his wife. The very next day, she bring one of her friends over. Right? Old girl that 3 years older than me. I went to school with her for a little bit. Just knew of her. Didn't really, I wasn't in her social circle, but so he hooked me up, man. And next, me and her went on 2 double dates, like so back-to-back days. So he done stoked
reeled you in.
He done poked at my manhood. Then he done appealed to and questioned my ego.
Yeah.
Then he put me in line, for some skins, and I'm like, man, so listen, so the guard comes
you
down.
old him at this point, big dog. You old right now.
You was hooked. What I
say to you
right now?
He like, hey, I done put you on, right? I ain't told you no lies yet, right? Hey, everything I done said, right? He said, you want this kind of lifestyle.
Wait till you get to boot camp. People like, lying mother. Right.
So guess what? So he's like, okay, look. So it's at the point now. I just need like, look, ain't no pressure, but we do got to get the ball rolling, man. For me to still keep interacting with you, I'm like, you cool, but I might have to move on, and because I got a quota. At least he was honest with that. He's like, we got to get a certain amount of people in, but I feel like this might change your life. He said, I hung with you a couple of days. I see where you at in the in between space. So he like, look, let's just go ahead and go down to the med station, and let's just go ahead and take the ASVAB. It's all right, cool, fine, man. Went down there, took the ASVAB, waited around for the scores to come back and all that good stuff. And he like, look, you know what? He's like, it ain't no pressure. He was like, but when the scores come back, they're gonna be able to tell you exactly what kind of jobs you are able to get, what kind of rates you have. But he's like, I'm gonna be honest with you. When they tell you what the ratings are, you ain't got that much time to sit and think about it. You got to decide real quick because there's other people that's taking the test and they might take it's only a couple of slots. So he's like, while we doing that, man, we down here, let's just go ahead and go back in here and let's just go ahead and get the physical and all that stuff done. So I'm like, all right, man. Yeah, look at him.
Right that's so great. Look, that was back in the old days of recruiting where you could make shit happen the same day. Now they go through your electronic record and they find some shit you did when you was a baby. And then you get, I don't know. It's back in the day. Recruiting back then was awesome.
Bro, so I go do the whole little physical, duck walk, all that stuff, all in one day. Get out. He like, good news, man. I can sit you down with the detailer. He'll be able to tell you exactly what they have open. So I'm like, look, man, I'm telling you right now, I want to believe you, but I'm not going on nobody's ship. That's just not for me. And he's like, no, I'm trying to tell you, we got more options. So we go there. Sit down with the detailer. He looking, he pull up the computer. He like, okay, here are the ratings that you, based on your ASVAB scores, you're qualified for. So he had it broken down in the little community. I saw a couple of aviation things, a couple of things that said,
gave them job cards.
He saw the thing that said undesignated, and I asked him. I remember I was like, "What does undesignated mean?" He was like, "No, you don't want to do undesignated." No,
see, he did take care of you then.
Yeah.
You can pick whatever you want once you get in.
And he must have had a couple more that he got in that month, man. So he wasn't fiending at that point. But I remember construction, utilities men and construction electrician were both. And I was like, "What are these?" He's like, "Oh, those are CBs." I was like, "What's a CB?"
On no ship.
Construction.
So he was like, yeah, it's a construction battalion. So here's where he put that last little and listen to me. So he said, look, man, he was like, hey, you might want to think about that. He was like, that's a construction, man. You go ahead and get you a trade, man, get you a set of skills, man. You can get out and make some big money. He said, oh, check it. And hey, they down there stationed, you get to go back to California. He said, hey, man, they down there in Malibu Beach. Yeah, he called Port Hueneme Malibu Beach.
Yeah.
He like, yeah.
Ain't no motherfucking Malibu. Hey, we know.
Yeah.
Hey, ain't no Malibu.
Bro, yeah, he like, oh yeah, they live right there. They base right out there in Malibu Beach, man. You be out there on the surf, all that good stuff. I said, oh really? He's like, yeah. So I tell the detail. I said, okay, well, what's the difference between an electrician and a utilities man? So he said, well, one is pipe fitting and plumber. Well, he said pipe fitting. He kept talking. And I was like, I ain't never heard no pipe fitting. Like I'm from the hood. Like I'm from the central part of the city. He's like, okay, you ever heard of a plumber? I said, yeah. You know what? I said my grandmother she had some work done in the house and had a master plumber come and do some work. They had to put a little partial bathroom in downstairs because my grandmother had allowed a couple more of my family members to stay there, so she had to do some renovations. I was like, and I remember that master plumber told me he was making like $50 an hour. He's a white dude, right? So they're like, yeah, come in the Navy, get yourself a trade, you can get out, be making $50 an hour and like that. I'm like, okay. So I said the magic word that we all say to the recruiter. I said, so let me have a little bit of time to go home and kind of talk with grandma about it, kind of see. He like, listen, bruh, I'm gonna tell you like this, and he talking to me just like this. He's like, bruh, I'm just telling you like this, man. When you leave here, this might not be here when you come back. He's like, and if only thing that's left is undesignated things, that means that you probably might go on the ship. I said, well, look, man, I understand this. I'm sitting there thinking. And I'm like, man, I really want to get out the hood, man. He like, and the Navy gonna give you some money to go to school. You said ain't nobody went to school as your family. I said no. He said, and they got a signing bonus of $35,000. So I'm like, oh. So he like, yeah, but tell you what, if you ain't undecided, he's like, listen, what you can do is we can put you on delayed entry. So I said, well, what's delayed entry? He's like, you can go ahead and decide that you're gonna go ahead and take this rate now. We'll go ahead and sign you up, and you tell us when you want to come, right? And I said, man, you know what? I'm supposed to be going to my cousin's. This is in June. I said I'm supposed to be going to my cousin's in August. He lives in New York right now, and so I can't miss it. She said, hey, ain't no problem. He's like, look, we put you on delayed entry. He said, we'll put you on delayed entry for 3 months, but you still gotta come in, check in at the recruiting center. I still gotta be able to keep tabs on you, this, and that. I'm thinking, you know what, man? You said this stuff might not be here. I don't really want to be here no more. You know what, man? Fuck it. So I decided. So I said, okay, man. So what I got to do? That's when he read me. He said, okay, well, look, now you got to be able to sign this paperwork. You got to be able. This is going to certify that you going into delayed entry, and you can't smoke no more weed. When the last time you smoked weed, I said, I told him, I said, man, I smoked weed maybe about 3 weeks ago. He's like, look, you're gonna have to go in there and talk to him, be honest with him. Tell him it was just a one-time thing. He's like, tell her that you actually was peer pressured into do it. It's not something you did of your own volition, and just give him a little drag story. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I didn't know, in my mind, it still hadn't registered that I'm signing paperwork saying that I am enlisting in the Navy. Right?
That's hard. 5 copies.
Bruh. Then he's like, okay, there's 2 things we got to do. So now we got to set up this little thing. You got to come into the recruiting station because we got to get you prepared for boot camp. So we got to learn the Sailor's Creed. You got to learn how to do some facing movements. He's like, so what's going to happen is we're going to set it up so you come a couple of days a week, man, to the recruiting station, check in with me. So I went through all the MEP stuff, signed all the stuff I had to do. Came back to the house. My grandmother was home, and I'm like, Grandma. She's like, where you been? I said, hey, I was with Johnny because I had introduced her to Johnny. She knew I was with the recruiter, but she knew to her knowledge that I that's not my thing. So I said, I was out with Johnny. She's like, what you out with that Navy guy for? I said, no, listen. I was like, yeah, I've been hanging out with him for a couple of days, and so I just made a decision. I was like, you know what? I just decided I'm about to just join the Navy. Just get up out of here and just go start my life. So my grandmother looked at me, and first thing she said, she was like, without discussing it with me, because she was that soulful grandma. She the one that had her hands in everybody's pot. Everything had to run through her. She was the matriarch and all that. And I remember telling her, and I was like, yeah, I just decided, man, that's just what I'm going to do. And, I just need to get up out of here. And so she was like, well, what about that trip I done paid? Because, she paid for the plane ticket and all that stuff for me to go to New York. I said, oh, no, they told me I didn't have to go. They said, they actually gave me a date. They said, I don't have to report to boot camp to November 16th. So again, this is June. So she looking at me and all that kind of stuff. So we go through that process, and I had some time to really think about it. At first I was nervous, and every time I would go to that recruiting station, I really felt like just telling dude like, nah, you know what? I feel like you pressured me into doing it. I'm not really sure if I want to do it, but I still was dealing with these issues back in my community. And, in the midst of trying to set up my 3 younger cousins and my little brother, I started thinking, man, I can't protect them. And the best thing I could probably do is to get myself together and away from here and then have them come with me. right? So I remember talking to Johnny about that. He was like, yeah, man. He was like, yeah, once you get out of boot camp, you're going to go to A school. You know, you get your designation, all that good stuff. Then you're going to be able to pick some orders. As soon as you get to wherever you're going to go, man, you can go ahead and have them come and stay with you, get you a little apartment. So what he misled me into believing is he made me think that once you get out of A school, you start getting BAH, and you ain't got, we never talked about a barracks ever. that wasn't even anything I was introduced to.
Hey, that wasn't important at the time. That wasn't important.
Hey,
damn bricks,
man,
bro. That's the bricks,
bro. Hey, went to the maps, man. Hey, did a little swear in. We all got in the bus, man, and that's when they got real.
That's when life got real.
I'll tell you what, though. Let me tell you this. Your story is what recruiting is all about. So if there's any current recruiters watching this right now, what you just heard is how you're supposed to do it. Yesterday at my house, Becky's phone rings. She answers it, and she's just like, nope. She said, nope, again. And she was like, here. She never hands me the phone. So I pick up the phone. I'm like, hello? They're like, is Cole there? I was like, nope. You know when he's coming back? Nope. And I'm just waiting. And then the dude's like, oh, I don't even remember his name. I'm with the recruit depot here in Katy, right? And he was like, do you think I could have Cole's phone number? I'm like, no, you can't have Cole's phone number. And then he was just like, all right, thanks. And hung up, dude. Yeah. I was like, did you even go to the sales class? Did you even learn how to handle objections? He didn't even ask, is this his dad? He didn't try to get to know nothing. He was just like,
he was on.
Yeah, no, I'm good. I made my phone call. They said no.
He was
like,
on
what
phone
do we
power.
do?
He was on phone power. He ain't getting.
But he wasn't reading that phone script. He wasn't asking me no other questions. Because as soon as I picked up the phone and I knew he was a recruiter, I just looked at Becky and I was like, this is the best day ever. Because I was like, I'm ready to go.
Hey,
and then he just hung up.
What I wanted to remind everybody was, because I know we all stayed in the barracks, but what y'all don't realize is me and Mo was in Port Hueneme barracks. That shit was like the Wild Hunters in Chicago. Like the barracks in the Hueneme, bro, nobody prepares you for Port Hueneme barracks with the CBs and the Marine Corps. Because them barracks right there, bro, that shit is like the real projects. Like people are out there fighting. I had my little sea bag on my back. I'm walking to my barracks room. There's people throwing each other off the balcony. There's people fighting. They got people barbecuing. I'm like,
that's that West Coast CB life, bro.
Nobody told me about. I'm with Mo. Nothing prepares you for that.
That is what they said, because them East Coast CBs weren't doing that bullshit.
Down in Gulfport, it's a whole different lifestyle. It's a whole different.
The first day you get it, they give you a sheet of paper of places you can't go in Oxnard and jerseys you can't wear. You can't wear Raiders jerseys. You can't wear Dallas jerseys. You can't wear LA jersey. I'm like, for one, none of those teams I'm gonna wear anyways, but thank you for telling me, because you might go outside in the Dallas jersey and get beat up outside the gate. I was at the gate one time, Matt, and this car two cars pulled up beside us at the gate and opened fire on each other at the gate of the base and just rode off. I was like, what's happening? Where are we at?
Yeah, in the late 90s, here in this area, it was wild, man.
Oxnard, shit.
So here's what I'm
real quick before we jump into that. I'm cool if we don't do it, but we normally do a small break. If you guys want to take a break, I'm cool with it. If not, we can just keep going.
We can let Mo finish
whatever y'all want to do.
His thought, and we can. Yeah, I'm down.
Yeah, for sure.
Man, you got Mo in the building.
Put Mo in the building. Mo, finish your thought. When he get done with that, we'll take a quick break. But I want to hear
I'll take it. I'll make it nice and sweet. Yeah. Right. So I get to boot camp, right? And decide, man, okay, I'm not doing anything. So I get compartment watches, I get everything. Once I get there and I realize they can't put hands on you, now I'm like, no, I'm not listening to what these dudes have to say, because the two RDCs is two old white dudes, and I've never ever been trained to actually take authority or anything from that, especially from a white male. So these dudes are yelling and screaming. I realize they can't touch me, so I start mouthing off back. They yelling and screaming and threatening to do stuff, and I'm in their face, fuck you, this and that. They put me on compartment watch, man. I'm in there laying in the rack, man. They come and shake the rack and yell and scream, Mosby, get the hell out of the rack, this and that, man. So I decide, man, I ain't gonna do this. So they did. So here's where in Great Lakes, man, they got a cold little twist. So they bring in the big guns. They bring in the black senior chief. So he come in, and he appealed to my black card. He get in, he like, man, hey, what's your name? And I'm like, man, listen, man, I'm not getting up, man, and going to go stand this cold as hell in here and this night. He like, look, man, the hell with all that. He like, look, I'm talking to you, black man, the black man. I'm like, all right, man, what? He like, what you doing in here? I said, man, look, I came here because they told me that I was gonna learn a skill. I'm about to get a trade, get out, go stay in Malibu Beach on the beach and all that good stuff. He like, who told you that? I said, my recruiter. He gave me that look like, your recruiter. So I'm like, yeah, he told me, he like, look, all I'm telling you is this. He like, look, you out here making us look bad first and foremost. You got these white folks thinking that they didn't need to let nobody that look like you and me in this place. He said, I done been in this uniform for how many years, 16, 17 years, whatever. He like, and I come from humble beginnings. He said, where you from? I told him, where I'm from. He said, so your mom think that this is how she raised. I said, I ain't got no mom. Like at this point, me and my mom was estranged, so we ain't got no race. I ain't got no mom. He's like, well, your dad. I said, man, I don't know who my dad is. He's like, oh, so you wanted that? He said, okay, so where did you stay before you came here? And then we got a crack house. I said, listen, I done stayed in crack houses. Yeah, absolutely. But so he's like, okay, cool. Where you come from? I said, look, I was staying with my grandmother. He said, so your grandma done sent you to the Navy? I said, no, I made my own mind if I'm coming to the Navy. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to leave and make my life better. He said, so you mean to tell me that you're going to get on a plane and come all the way over here to Great Lakes just to have these folks kick you out of here, and you got to go back and tell your grandma that you ain't even good enough to be in the United States Navy? And I was like, well, I didn't even think about it like that. You know what I'm saying?
Where was he from? Was he a senior chief?
Yeah, he was senior chief. He was from Tennessee. Tennessee.
Okay. Man,
and so he was like, look, so what you need to do is understand, like, you don't take a chance. These people said that they're going to give you some money. They're going to send you halfway around the world, right? You're going to go get to see some things. You're going to get some money for colleges. Like, so you think they're going to just give it to you without investing in you? This whole thing right here in this barracks is an investment. They got to break you down to build you back up. He says, so you got a decision to make. You're going to let them kick you up out of here and tell you ain't good enough for the United States Navy, or you're going to just man up and decide you're going to do this to make everybody proud, or we're going to send you back to that crack house you was talking about that you used to stay in. So I said, okay, fine. So what I got to do? So he went and talked to the RDCs, came back. He said, look, man, we can't fix this situation. Like, you done did too much here. So we're going to have to ASMO you back. But what I'm thinking about doing, he said, listen, let me see if I can pull some strings. You need a little bit of responsibility. So I'm going to see if I can't get you in the state flags division. So I'm like, what's the state flags? He said, no, it'd be good for you, man. He said, listen, they're the ones that during all their graduation ceremonies, they carry all 50 of the flags. So you'll be able to keep your mind. He said, listen, you'll keep your mind off. You ain't got to do all this compartment inspections and all that kind of stuff. You ain't got to get up in the middle of the night. So I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I didn't know he was going to be in the drill hall 10, 12, 14 hours. I didn't know I was going to be Idaho. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know I was going to be the Idaho State Flag. You know what I'm saying? Damn.
They wouldn't even give you.
Yeah. So they rolled me. They rolled me up out of there, man, and they put me in the State Flags Division 976, man. Like, I get there, man. These dudes just, hey, everybody tired, man. I'm wondering why everybody looking all tired. That very next day, I understood it, bro, because man, he was like, listen, we're gonna be in this drill hall, man, all day. We doing 12 hours that day. So I moved back a whole 2 weeks in my graduation, because if y'all recall, when you do state flags, you gotta do a graduation before yours. Then you do yours, and then that one after that. It's a three piece. So that was my introduction to boot camp, and I did that. It was at that point, man, where I was like, okay. It can only get better from here. So we'll go ahead and take the break there. I'm gonna tell y'all what happened to me in A school, bro. Good.
Hey, man. Good Lord. Matt, I'm telling you, man. It's even more freakier.
Yeah, you was a 900 division.
He was 900.
And
hey, don't tell me you went to the ceremonial guard.
No. He didn't go. I don't know. Did you go? You didn't go to the ceremonial.
No.
Listen.
Okay.
Even to the point where I got to boot camp and I told them I wasn't doing shit. I wasn't doing none of that. And I told them, I said, everybody who's here is in ant turd status with me. And they was like, ant turd status? What does that mean? I said, bro, if you look on the ground and you see an ant walking across the ground and he stops and takes a shit, that piece of shit is how much room y'all got to mess with me while I'm in here before I go off. So what they did is they went and got the senior chief, and the senior chief did just like what he did with you. He came in, he said, hey, where's Blake at? They was like, everybody pointed. He right there. Yeah. So he said, okay, 3 things are going to happen today. And one of them is happening right now. He's like, 1, I'm going to embarrass you. 2, I'm gonna kick your ass, and 3, I'm gonna kick you out. And I was like, oh shit. He said, go in the, you know, the little offices that's in the compartment.
Yeah.
He see me back there. He sat down. I can't remember his name, but he's a senior chief, and he had a part. He brushed his hair over to the side and had a part in it. And he put his feet up on the desk and he asked me, where you from, the whole thing. He was from St. Louis. And he did the same spiel with you, like, man, what do you got to go back to? What are you running from? And all that stuff. And instead of kicking me out, what he did is he made me master at arms in the compartment. So he gave me some rank. And he said, if you can keep this rank in the time that you here in boot camp, it'll pay off for you. So sure enough, he gave me some rank. So everybody had to ask me to go to the bathroom or to the water fountain. So I had a little bit of power. And I didn't abuse it, but I kind of abused it. And I went from being the most likely to get kicked out of boot camp to getting the Lone Sailor award at the end of graduation because of a senior chief that moved me that way.
Look at them parallels, man.
Crazy,
Hey, when I got to the state flags, man, I was they wanted to make me the RPOC, man, but the dude was already there, already paid his dues, man. So they made me the A-Rock, man. They asked me, did I know how to hold it, carry a tune?
Yeah.
You know, and I was that, what do you do?
Yeah.
They want to whatever. They put me in that.
Yeah.
Put me right there. Get a little bit of power, man. I'm going in.
Yeah.
Yeah, we going in the chow hall earlier than everybody else. They gotta wait. You know, we get our food first. All that. Good stuff, man.
That's
There you go.
That's great, man.
The Navy is a machine, man. The Navy is a hell of a drug.
Yep. Look at us now.
You ain't never lied.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mama,
Sure.
can't you see what the Navy's done to me? All right.
Yeah,
well,
so look, we have Larry the Legend in the building today.
Yes, sir.
That's pretty good. And
LT,
then we have
going on, LT.
and then we have Kim is in the building today. Join us on the other side.
Kim, what's up?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is crazy, man. This is crazy
Very.
work listening to this
So
right now.
I would tell you, let's just here's my opinion. We just keep going. I don't want to go to a break. It's too good.
But we already kind of like,
Yeah, we finished that story. Now we get to talk about A school.
but
Oh,
Ty,
man.
but you already know that Ty always has these cool slides, man. I don't know.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Never mind. Ty's hard work will pay off.
Well, you know,
and I need
I'll tell you what we'll do. This is what we'll do for this podcast and this podcast only. I want to see what Ty got. I know my man. So what we'll do is we're gonna keep on going. I think we in the weeds. We're gonna keep going, and then at the end, when we get done with the sports stuff, then we'll do that thing before we go out. What about that? Can
Let's
we
go.
commercial out?
yeah,
good.
we can commercial
All
out.
right, we can commercial out. Okay,
We
let's
can
keep-
do whatever the hell we want. This is our
yeah,
shit.
this is
So,
our,
you know,
there you go. Yeah,
and there's that.
let's go.
Yeah. So you're ready for A school.
You ready?
Let's go.
So-
I was always ready for A school. I think.
So I get my plane tickets and all that good stuff, man. They say that I'm going to Wichita Falls, Texas.
Shepherd Air Force Base.
Shepherd Air Force Base. I'm like, okay, fine. Get on the plane. I said, you know what? They told me I was going to be able to go home after boot camp, before I go to A school. But because I got asthma back, I got out of that little time track. So they're like, no, we got to send you right to A school. After A school, they'll give you your 30 days leave. So I'm already pissy about that. I'm like, man, I should be at the house right now. So I didn't keep my nose all the way clean in boot camp. I ended up getting stripped in my A-Rock position because I still was thinking like I need to conduct myself how I was in my own community, even though I'm hundreds of miles away. But I make it through. And so I go to Shepherd Air Force Base, check in. Once I realized it was the Air Force Base, because I didn't really know, they said Shepherd Air Force Base, but I don't know the Air Force. I get there and immediately the vibe is all different, man. The way that they walking around there, they walking around soft. Everybody's soft. Everybody's soft shoe. And then there's a whole bunch more girls, right? And I'm like, it is what they say about the Air Force. Like the Air Force is soft, man. So I get to the little CB detachment, man, right there, and just in time, everybody's coming back from school. Everybody, and I see him in line, and I'm already sizing up the dude that's doing the cadence. I'm like, man, he ain't even doing the cadence right, man. I'm gonna have his job, So I'm already plotting and planning. So we get there, and the next class wasn't gonna class up for 2 weeks. So they had me and 3 other guys that just recently got there. We were the cleanup crew. Our job was just clean up the barracks and stuff. Worst possible group to mix me in with, because one of them, I can't remember his name, but I remember his gang name. His name was Woodchuck. He had Woodchuck tatted on his shoulder. He didn't have it on his neck, or else they wouldn't let him in. They had told him that, but he had it on his shoulder. So he from LA, and he was straight cripping. I'm talking about cripping with a capital C. So we got him. Then we got my homeboy Wash, who reminded me of like Big Worm. Like if you can visualize, he just was slim enough to make it into the Navy, but he was always on that line. He was a thickums, man. But he was from up in Alameda County, and he had did the fire academy diversion. He had got some trouble in juvenile hall, and they sealed his file so he can get in. But these two dudes was on the same wavelength I was on. I'm like, man, hey, we can still like conduct ourselves like we still on the block. But here, because all these dudes are soft, all these, as far as we were concerned, everybody there was plugged into the Navy and plugged into the Air Force. They trying to change their life. So we running around here trying to call shots in the little barracks, man. And they had phase cards and curfews. We breaking all that stuff. Like we didn't give a damn. And we going into the little club, and we and in our mind we supposed to tear the club up.
Y'all was going to Duke's place. Y'all was going to Duke's.
Yeah, man, we up in that place, man. I remember it, man. Hey, I remember I had just got, we just now got a little bit of money because in boot camp you ain't getting no money. You know what I'm saying? They hold most of your money.
You had to give them that blue chit book, and it took all your money.
Right.
Yeah.
You got to pay for your uniforms and all that. So we get to A school, and now we starting to see a little bit of that E1 check, a little bit. So I went and bought me the new pennies, man. The pennies came out, the all black ones with the little blue trim. By then we up in the little club, and first we try to go to the NCO club. Can't get in there. We don't even know what that is. They're like, you got to be an E4 above in order to get into this. We're like, man. So we try to strong arm the dude because they had somebody that was in the Air Force right at the door. So we mush him walk up in there, and we in there. They're looking at us like, who let these dudes in, right? Because we over there, man. Everybody else is plugged in. Everybody, eyes on trying to turn their life around. We think that we still on the block, right?
Yeah,
we walking in there. Yeah, we walking in there, and dude went and told somebody. So we see the master. Man, they call it the master at arms. But I ain't talking about the ones that's there at the barracks, like the ones that's at the gate. Like these dudes rolled up with the little Kevlar hat on and the little MP on, right? And they pull us out of there. We get in trouble because we're not supposed to, we broke phase. We all in phase 1 still because we still in the back detail. And the dude said, told that we intimidated them. So, they was talking about kicking us up out of there. So at that point, we realized we had to kind of like tone it down just a little bit. But the thing is that we understood that everybody else was there for the right reasons. And so we had leverage on them. So we running around there being extra tough. We got dudes, making them pay for us to have pizzas delivered to the A school barracks. We out there. Anytime females came in there, we sizing them up. We talking to them. And I'm not proud of this, but a whole lot of inappropriate conversations and chatter went towards females. Man, we wasn't raised right. And in my defense, I already explained to you, gentlemen, that I never seen women treated with respect. Not from my mom to my aunts to my uncles. The girls they was pimping on. I just never really had a real good appraisal value of women at that point. And so, we was like, hey, we like 3 big fish in a little pond as far as we concerned. And so again, we get sat down. We weren't even in school. We weren't even classed up yet. We still in holding company. We, the chief, sits us down. And I remember him telling us, he was like, I don't know, he one of them dudes that had the skull in his mouth, in his lip and all that. I don't know where he's from. He said, I don't know where you motherfuckers think you tough. He's like, I'll pull off this here blouse and I'll whip both of y'all asses, right? Yeah, he was on that kind of time, right?
One of those CBs.
Yeah, and we was like, oh shit, first it was like, yeah, man, whatever, man, just sitting there, and he was like, you don't think he started getting ready to pull out, because he was, hey, no, he was ready. No, this is to the extent to where he was at.
Yeah, he
took off his camouflage jacket, the little top, and was about to pull off his t-shirt. Like he was like, I'm about to take off the blouse, like, and just bare body with you. Like that was a level of crazy.
Yeah.
That was a level of crazy.
Yeah, he's related to the real Popeye. Like Popeye the Sailor Man.
Hey, look, man.
Now he a CB, bro. He pulled a Ty Cobb. He was like
Conics box counseling, bro. That shit's legit, dude.
Hey, that dude said he's about to take off his blouse, bro. I ain't never fought no dude with no shirt on.
Yeah, he was like, olive oil. Yeah. Give me my spinach.
Hey,
Them CBs are crazy, bro. Because a lot of those dudes are like rednecks from the farm, and all they did was throw hay, and they just fought growing up. So when you would see him, and they'd be like, "I'm ready," you were like, "What?" And then you're like, "Damn, he was really ready." Yeah. So when he said it, he's probably like, "This is going to be fun. I can't wait to do this." Different Navy, by the way. Now you guys would totally have had the upper hand because he'd have been like, "What do I got to do here to not get in trouble? Like, what do we have to?"
So look, we got saved, right? Because they had another petty officer second class. I forgot his rank. I mean his rate, but he was a black dude. His name was Petty Officer Curtis. He comes walking past and he sees him taking off his blouse. So he pops his head. He was an E4. He pops off. He pokes his head and he's like, "Everything good? Everything good in here, Chief?" And he was like, "I'm finna whoop these motherfuckers' ass up." Hey, this cat, man, hops in there real quick. He closes the door. He's like, "Chief, you can't do that." He was like, "No, these motherfuckers walking around here like they tough. They think they fucking run this place and shit. We fucking mush the people at the door and shit. How you in the fucking NCO club?" Like he was going hard on this. Go hard. And I remember all three of us, we didn't say it verbally, but we was all like, "Yeah, I think we're gonna just fall back.
Yeah, we're gonna sit this one out.
Yeah. We're gonna just hear him out." Hey, because it's one thing. It's one thing for somebody to start talking that tough talks for you, but it's the second thing when he be like, "Hold on, pause. Let's just go ahead and just bypass this.
Let's get naked. Let's get naked real quick. No weapons.
Keep in mind, we all 19-year-old boys. We 19-year-old kids thinking we men. Nah, he a 27, 28-year-old grown ass man. You know what I'm saying? And he had enough. He had enough. And to be honest, man, I can't prove it. But he probably felt like, nah, these little black motherfuckers think they can come in here and just turn this upside this. This ain't the hood. This ain't the hood. You got the MPs showing up here at the barracks. We done been smooth selling here. We a small detachment. They don't even want us on the space. He had all kind of politics to deal with, but we didn't know nothing about that, man.
Yeah, he did it before.
Yeah. So again, here's the recipe. Like you just said, you know the way that you give somebody that's a little mischievous to get kind of fall in line, you give them a little bit of responsibility, give them a little something to feel a little sense of pride in. So he's like, "Look, y'all getting ready to class up. When y'all class up, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna integrate you with everybody else, and we want to utilize your talents." Because he used to walk around the barracks and we used to be blasting our music, because you go to the PX, man, you get your little boom box, little CD player, and we playing all of our stuff. And they used to knock on the Rovers used to knock on the door. "Oh, you gotta turn it down. Fuck you, shut up, punk him out, all that stuff." So he said, "Oh, y'all into all this music." He's like, "Look, I got a task for y'all. Because we've been walking around here, man, doing the same old little cadence this whole little time, man." He's like, "And when we get to the big flights, because the flights is the Air Force formations, they have all their companies and all together. It's like, it just seemed like we just blend in too much with them. We Navy CBs, like we got to stick out, So they say, y'all are listening to all this bullshit music, man. Y'all gonna come up with a new cadence." So my homeboy Big Wash, he got tasked. He said, "Y'all, you gonna come up with one for when we in formation and we doing PT?" And he's like, "Mosby, you gonna come up for one when we're walking when we're in formation in flight?" Because what happened is every Friday you would go to flight and everybody would sound off, and then each of the little companies would say some little thing. And so his point was that we're just doing too much Air Force shit. And we're Navy CBs. We're here, but we're our own entity. So I'm reflecting. I'm like, man, what can I do? What can we come up with? We're trying to keep it street. I hear Wash come up with his little thing that he was doing for the PT, and I was laughing. I remember telling him, I was like, "Man, you sound like a white dude, bro." I was like, "They got you a cookie." We was calling him an Oreo cookie. We was like, "You a cookie, bro? You out here with your PT shorts up your ass, right?" We fucking with him. So I'm like, I got to come up with something that's hard. So hear me out on this, fellas. So this is 1997. This is beginning of 1997 because I went November 19th of 96. So this is February, March, because remember I had got asthma back. So it's February, March time frame. So I remember when Machiavelli first came out, Tupac had passed and everybody's bumping Machiavelli.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, I'm listening to what the Air Force is saying, and we listening to our music, and I'm trying to think of a song, and I'm like, no, we can't do Sebo, we can't do Brother Lynch, we can't do any of this hard.
Damn sure can't do Brother Lynch. You
Yeah.
that next day.
So I had this little thing in my head. I was like, okay, so we gotta every Friday we gotta go to flight and let all these little units do their little random little cheers, and we gotta come up with one. So I'm sitting there listening to Machiavelli, and I hear it, and I'm like, Air Force, please. Can't you see that we Navy CBs? Do we have here now? Because we like to build a fight. And then my man Wash was like, la da 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 da. And I'm like, that's it. That's it. So we go stand in front of the same white chief, man, that was really about to get in our ass, bro. And I'm like, I got the cadence. I was like, listen, but we gotta coordinate it though. We gotta do it all together. And he's like, let me hear it. I'm like, so he don't know nothing about Tupac. He ain't never heard. He don't trouble himself with rap. So I'm like, Air Force, please. Can't you see that we Navy CBs? What do we have here now? Because we like to build and fight. La da 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 da. And he's like, that's it. That's it. and we like, he gonna let us say this?
Yeah.
He's like, hey, when we come back, when we come back from school tomorrow, from the schoolhouse tomorrow, I want you guys to get out there. We're gonna train everybody. We're gonna teach everybody. So we was happy as hell that whole night. I remember our rooms were side by side. Man, he came over. We were sitting there just pillow talking. We're like, man, we gonna have everybody in formation, and we gonna say it. And we had a little thing where it's like, what do we have here now? Because like to build a fight, and then we get da 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 da. Hey. And so he out there watching us as we putting this together. I could just see, man. He was like, yeah, I'm not sure if he actually cared about what we were saying, but I now I'm looking back at it. He was happy two things, that he had us to start doing something constructive, so we're not running around there doing dumb shit no more. But then two, we get to stick out from the rest of the Air Force because this ain't nothing that they on. So yeah. That very, very, man, nervous as hell, man. That very, very first flight on that Friday, man. Hey, we there and we in ranks. Like, hey, don't be nervous. Make sure y'all sound off. Make sure y'all do this. Hey, and I kid y'all not, man. God's my witness, man. We did it one time, and I remember it was quiet for a quick second, but then not all, but a lot of different people in the Air Force, little things, man, they started clapping because they listen to the same music. We all in the same age group. They were shocked that we was able to do that, right? And so we feeling ourselves now, and we feel because we see them, going to the BX, we see them out there playing hoop, and they're like, oh man, that stuff you guys did was dope, man. I wish that our sergeant would let us do that, this, and that. And we're like, hey man, we Navy CBs, that's what we do.
Hey, so you found out real quick. CBs were the anti-establishment. If the limit could be pushed and the rules could be broken and you could still do it in the gray, the CBs were doing it. Yeah, like, we didn't give a damn, dude. Yeah. They pushed buildings off cliffs. They did not care. Yeah. Hey, they're like, but did the job get done though? Okay, we're good.
Absolutely. Right? So now we got a little bit of status on the base, man. So, we run around. We're like, oh yeah, man. My homeboy Marcus is plugging me. His name is Big Wash. He's like, oh yeah, Mo, right? Mo, they called me Mo Skrill back then, for Skrill. Yeah. And Mo Skrill, the one that wrote that. I'm like, yeah, I came up with that. So me, him, and Chuck talking. I'm like, man, we got to fix that white song y'all doing for PT, bro. We can't do that, bro. Like you out here like Carlton Banks, bro. We can't do that, man. So we on them. We're like, no, we got to come up with something, man. So I told Wash, I said, bro, man, I'm telling you right now, if we come out, man, and we got to jog to what you put together, bro, then I'm going to trip you. I'm going to fall out of range and trip you. We just messing with him. So this fool go back to the lab. He go back to his room. He didn't come and kick it with us or nothing. He in the lab coming up with some stuff. The next morning he come out, he like, hey, we heard, this the third class paid off courtesy, like, hey, construction recruit Washington, because that was Wash's last name. Hey, he got something that we're gonna learn. We're gonna change up the pace today. We're gonna do something a little different. I want y'all to pay attention. Y'all gotta get it real quick because we're gonna do this today. So me and Chuck both looking, man, like what this dude got going on, man. So he like, yeah, I got this new thing we're gonna do. So y'all just gotta repeat after me. We still running, we still left, right, but y'all gonna run. Matter of fact, we just gonna do it as we walking by, right? So So Pastor Kurt's looking at him like he crazy. So we get information, man. We start a little slow jog. As soon as we get down the air, what's it called, the airstrip, because everybody used to have to run down that long airstrip and go around the cones and come back. As soon as we get to one of the low units, the Air Force unit, he busted out. He like, what's up, what's down with that Navy CB sound? And we all like, what's up, what's down with that Navy CB sound? You wish you was a Navy CB. And then we're like, wish you was a Navy CB. Being in the Air Force, that shit's easy. And then we're like, oh shit, can we do it? Being in the Air Force, that shit's easy. And then he hit it. Ain't no love for Wichita Falls. And we ain't no love for Wichita Falls. Barely got love for Cooper Hall. Because we staying in Cooper Hall. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Hey, I remember, man, we was like, hey, me and Chuck was like, oh, this dude right here is wild, man, wild. So you take three knuckleheads, man, that in all intents and purposes is about to screw themselves up and get washed out of the military, just trying to still live up to that whole street image that, is in our community, is prevalent in the way in which we're raised. And then these dudes find a way to have some patience and give us some grace and say, you know what, we still see some creativity. We see something in these young men that if we can just pivot it and just change their trajectory, we can turn them into kick-ass CBs, right? Yeah. And that was our legacy for from what I recall, two or three groups after we left. Like, we had people coming to the duty stations that was talking about that song, and they thought I was capping. They're like, no, you didn't make that song up, man. I'm like, bro, I made that song up, bro. I'm telling you. And my homeboy Wash made up the PT song, so they still did it, for some time after we left. So we became superstars in Shepherd.
So what you just said, right? It kind of resonates a little bit too, and it reminds me of, like, obviously what you're doing now in your life, right? So how much of that had an influence on what you're doing now as far as showing students grace and being, you said you work with inner city youth and troubled teens. How much of that influences the way you treat kids now, right? Students now, or some of those people you have to influence now, and on a different level, right? Because it ain't easy doing what you're doing now, for sure. Not even close, right?
Yeah, no, but the nuances are still the same. What I'm able to do that has really, really propelled me and allowed me to stand, head over heels amongst most of my peers in the realm of education, is that I understand how to relate to and how to negotiate with young people, right? When I was younger, I just couldn't understand why I had all the hardships and all the things I had to endure, but it gave me the ability to be able to see that in young students in my classrooms or in the schools in which I was a part of, or again, going and talking to students, young people in juvenile hall. I'm able to understand you can't just come at them with this. You should be doing better. Stop making mistakes. I was able to draw from the inner pieces of who I am inside and say what kind of things resonated with me and allowed me to lower my guard enough to hear what this person was saying and what things were just flat out turnoffs, right? And so I'm always looking into a young person to see what their assets are. I'm always looking to see, okay, where is it that I can appeal them to utilize the strengths that they have in order for us to address the deficits that they're showing or that they're exhibiting at this point in time, right? And so my first year and a half, almost 2 years in the Navy was rocky, because although I kept saying I was going to turn over a new leaf, when I got myself together and I finished second in my class in A school by, a 0.3, a guy beat me out. He chose orders to Sudabay Creek, Greece, and I took orders to Keflavik, Iceland. Right?
Ooh, you volunteered for that?
Yeah, that was his first orders.
Yeah. So the thing is that at that point in time, that small moment, I was thinking, and I was in the company of people that was like, you need to just open yourself up to try some things. Like, you really need to leave all these reservations and all the things that you have in your old psychology from the environment you're at. You're not there anymore. If you're going to join the military and you have an opportunity to travel the world, why not go to some places you've never been to, right? And some places that no one else that has ever been to. So I was on that wave when I saw that because Gulfport was open, Whidbey Island was open, Bremerton was open.
What year was that?
1997.
Man, if you would have went to Gulfport, I probably would have met you there, man. I was in Gulfport in 97.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I had been around enough people that was like, you don't want to go to the green machine, right? They was already saying,
don't go to battalion.
They was like, don't go to the green machine, bro. So I took those orders, man, and make a long story short, they gave me my 30 days leave. I went home. I was feeling real good about myself, man. Started telling my loved ones and people I used to hang out in the block with. I was going to, I'm talking about, I promise you, they almost got me to go AWOL because I had so many people in my ears saying, what the hell are you going to Iceland for, man? They ain't got no black people in Iceland, and they gonna get you over there, you're gonna die, and they're just gonna cover it up, man, and this, now you ain't got no, and I'm thinking, and my uncle, well, not my uncle, excuse me, one of my uncle's friends, he used to go and work on this little fishing boat up in Alaska. They would go to Vancouver, Canada, and then they would go out on the little fishing boats for 2-3 months. They'd stack their cash and they'd come back. So he was like, look, I got me a spot in Vancouver. Like, you can go right over the border. You know what I'm saying? We can get you right into Canada. You just lay low. But I remember my grandmother saying, when she had some concerns about it, but she said, well, listen, you came to me and you told me that you had already made your mind up. You didn't listen to anybody saying what you could have, should have did. She's like, so let that be the way in which you approach life from this point forward. Don't come back here and look for somebody else that ain't never left here to tell you what you should be doing when you leave here. So I went and did it. And Keflavik, Iceland was the best kept secret. The only other place I've ever been to that was more black folk rock star-ish was in Sydney, Australia. Aside from Sydney, Australia.
Yeah, bro. You was probably fucking Denzel Washington in damn Iceland, bro. They was like, Denzel, bro. They probably was all over you in damn Iceland.
Bruh, man, no, they was calling me Tay Diggs back then, man. Because Tay Diggs that had the little Love Jones, you know what I'm saying? And I was over there working my magic. But I say that to say that to come back full circle, what you're asking, Al, what I do is I look back at these little time capsules within my life and these monumental moments and these things that help me, that help the people to pour into me and to get the best out of me. And as I'm dealing with a young person, regardless of where they're currently at in their station of life, I'm thinking, let's look at their assets first. Let's look at some of the things that they have. Sure, they might be a little rough around the edges, and they might be, to some people, a smart aleck, a smart ass, all that stuff. But I look at it as, okay, you got some charisma, you got some gift of gab, right? So let's look at how I can appeal to them and say, look, instead of just being this way, and I use a little bit of that inner senior chief that you and I said that we have been exposed to. Yeah. When I talk to young people that come off a little abrasive, I'm like, look, especially if they're a person of color. If they're a person of color, the first thing I say is, look, man, you doing exactly, bro, this is easy, man. You give them exactly what they want, man. They ain't got no expectations of you, bro. Like, they already wrote you off. And the worst part is that you ain't even got enough courage to fight for who you are, bro. You just giving up. You just like, I'm gonna just be just like the rest of everybody else here. Like, you mediocre? Like, is that what you are? You mid? And so again, that senior chief, going back to the Johnny Guy, questioning my manhood, I've learned to kind of use those things to get them to start thinking, no, I ain't no punk, I ain't no this, and that. So I said, so now my job is to get them to now become intellectual, to flip that switch from doing dumb stuff to how can I outsmart people, or how can I put myself in a position so that I don't got to do so much of the work. So when Al came across me, I had already had 18 months in a naval air detachment, and I bumped my head and had some good second classes, good first classes, man, that was able to reel me in and say, look, man, every time I made a bad decision, a dumb decision, they reminded me that the responsibility that I had, if nothing else, is that I chose this, right? I could have been anywhere in the world, but I chose to be a United States CB, right? And they got me to start understanding that this is a small component, a small piece of a very, very big Navy. And so when you have a small exclusive group, it's paramount that everybody understands your responsibility. Like, you're not just a Navy sailor, you are a United States Navy. So there's a certain expectation, there's a certain culture, there's a certain way in which you got to carry yourself, right? We're small as a detachment, so we got to look out for each other. So I started learning that camaraderie and started learning, how we got to look out for each other versus me thinking from a very singular, very, very selfish mind state. So when I got to the battalion, I had already understood that, you know, it's time to make the Navy work for me. I didn't did enough work for the Navy. I got to the battalion as an E4, right? So I was like, okay, at least I don't got to go through. I got there and got my own fire team fresh out the gate. And I was like, I've been waiting for this. You know, I've been waiting to be in a position to where I can lead, because when I was back in Iceland, it was a small detachment, but I was one of the junior people all the time, you know. And so I finally get a chance to start thinking about how can I hone my leadership skills. But then also I'm thinking of some of the ways I wish that some of those other sailors would have handled me. And I'm like, when it's my turn, I'm going to do this thing a little bit differently, right? And so there's a little shift that was happening in the late 90s and early 2000s too. You know, it was a different generation of young people coming in, right? And so we're in that little pocket where they no longer can beat your ass or do any of that crazy stuff, except for on deployment in that good old Connex box, right?
Good old Connex box counseling. I had my ass beat many times in the Connex box. Many times.
Yeah. So what I realized, man, is that I got there and I know a little bit about the Navy. This ain't my first rodeo. I done heard all the myths, the legends, the lore about green machines and all that kind of stuff. But I also had figured out a little bit more of who I was as a person. And what I realized is that as a youth, I didn't want to listen to what people had to say, and people would say that's hard-headed. But in all actuality, my personality has always been such that, you know, I'm a protector and I'm a person that wants to make sure everybody's good. And all those kind of skills can be honed into leadership skills. I just need to have something to really believe in, and I needed someone to believe in me. So when I get to battalion, it's a bunch of older second and first classes that then they did back-to-back battalions. They switched from 40 to 4 to 5 to 3, or they was in go
oh sorry
and then they moved back and forth. And so I'm thinking to myself, like, that's all these dudes know. They institutionalized. All they know is like the green machine.
Damn,
like
green prison.
Like, yeah, I'm like, nah, man. So when Al came along, I had realized that everything that had been poured into me, everyone that had invested some time and some effort into me, everyone that had given me grace, and then more importantly, everyone that had took time out to kind of show me something about the good old Nav that would turn me from being a person that's exploited to a person that's actually an integral part of the unit. I said, everyone that I come across, I got to make sure that I pour that into them, right? It doesn't matter.
Like I said, you did a damn good job. I mean, everything from like my high energy, you were like, hey, we should play sports. And I'm like, I don't know. Okay. And then you got me on your football team. And I was like,
immediately,
we can use your energy. You're fast and you run. Like, we'll get you. But you you knew how to take those little intricate pieces, right, and put them towards good, right? I mean,
so let's not bypass the key piece. When I first met Al, Al had the Napoleonic complex.
Oh, for sure.
Hey, because Al was a good. What was you, Al? What, 5'3", 5'4"? Where you at?
Good
what was
5.
You at,
I was probably good 5'4", 5'5".
Yeah, and Boots, you probably 5'5", right? Yeah, so easy. Of course he gets here, and like anybody else, he like, no, I got the flex, I got that posture. So I hear him out. You know, I if memory serves me correctly, man. He in the little laundry mat area, man, going back and forth with somebody. And by that time, we knew everybody that was there. We knew when new people came through. So I had seen Al come through. We all seen Al come through with the sea bag and all that stuff, man. You know, acting like he about to get to Alcatraz. You know what I'm saying?
That's what it felt like.
He thought he had showed up at Pelican Bay. You know,
that's what it felt like, bro. I'm looking for my gang. What the fuck I got to join? Who's big? I got to suck today. Who's fuck? I'm fucked.
So here's what stood out to him, right? Like Al spoke and talked with an urban slang and vernacular, but he wasn't like trying to be black. He was just like, man, this, hey, the same way he talked now. Listen here, motherfucker. This, and that, just popping, right? And so, you know, at first I was like, let me see how this dude last year, because again, you know, we had that old guard. We had I don't know if you remember Al, but we had like Polo and we had Gator, and we had all them dudes that, like I said,
career,
I'm talking about career in battalions. And so I told him, I said, look, man, check this out, man. I was like, hey, you play hoop? He was like, I play hoop a little bit, but not really that good. I said, man, well, I said, what about football? What about football? He's like, yeah, I know I play football. I'm fast. And he went immediately in the cat mode. Man, I'm one of the fastest people. Hey, when I was 18 years old, I ran the 4.340. Like he just ran
3.249.
Right. So I'm like, look, man, we got practice, man. He's like, oh, y'all play football here? I was like, no, it's flag football. You know what I'm saying? We ain't got no pads, but it's like a big deal, man. Like, you know, you play the Captain Cup, you know, and all these things, man. We always trying to out-compete all the other battalions, because at that point in time, there was 4 battalions at Homeport before they decommissioned 2. So it was lots of CBs on the CB base. So, yeah, got him out there, man. And sure enough, man, that dude fast as hell, man. He was fast. But the one thing about Al couldn't catch, man.
Saved my life. I dropped many a pass in the end.
Wide open.
Many and
you the sky and the ball. And
hey, back then, Al couldn't have caught COVID when COVID first
bro, you couldn't. No, he ain't lying. If you want me to do
that's why I stuck to softball. I stayed in softball, man.
If you want me to do some shit, you got to hand me the ball and make sure I'm holding on to it. Because,
And Al had the gloves, and he used to drop everything and be like this. He'd be like, all right, fellas. I got it this time.
Look, I can see 100% of what you just described.
Yep.
And I can also see him walking back to the huddle, like talking shit to himself.
Yeah,
like he's
absolutely.
like never
good,
get
though, I had the armbands, the headband. I looked like I was ready to play.
And then he gets back to the huddle, and somebody's like, "Man, you can't catch shit." And he'd be like, "What'd you say?" And then he gets mad at them, like it's their fault he can't catch.
That's it. Yeah. I had to walk him out the huddle a couple times.
Yeah, I hear running the passer.
Yeah,
so the ball straight, motherfucker.
So look, I had to pull an OG call with him, man. Because
plenty of times.
So I said, look, this is what we're gonna do, man. We're gonna take you off offense. We're gonna put you on defense, bro.
Rush the quarterback.
Hey, rush the quarterback. And sure as shit, this dude turned into a Joey Bosa before it was even a Joey Bosa, man. Hey, that dude couldn't catch a ball, but he would not drop a flag. Like, hey, that dude was snatching flags, man.
Because you were snatching like you were gonna pull someone's pants down, so that you know, for him that was the game.
Hey, well, the problem was Mo had a playbook that was like for real playbook, and I didn't know what the fuck I was looking at. I was like, I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to be doing. Yeah, he put me on defense though. I was shining.
Yeah. He was instrumental on defense, and that was our first connection point, right? I think that I earned his trust in that 100%. because everyone else in our circumference was always on that, you know, rah shit, and I was always like, man, I'm too cool for all that, one, but then two, I was a problem solver. How do we solve the problem? Like, this dude is fast as shit. Like, this dude is athletic, and you know, he got a motor. He just can't catch the ball. So let's put him on defense. And when he sacked the quarterback a couple times, man, and mind you, we played this one game against this Coast Guard team that had won like 2 or 3.
Yeah, the quarterback was he played in college. He was a college quarterback.
Yeah,
he was nasty.
Hey, the dude was cold, but you know who was sucking him up like a vacuum? Pause. This guy, he made him uncomfortable the whole game. Dude made a bunch of mistakes. We won that, and from that point, I was like, okay, so what I can do with Al is one, just, you know, lean into his personality and understand that right now he's still a hothead because he's a little bit younger than us, but recognizing we were all in that space, but still give him enough love low key, you know what I'm saying, to where he felt like he could trust and be a part. So he knew anytime I was around, and you know, I had kind of carved out that little niche in battalion. Like, they all used to drink and do all the, you know, the dumb stuff CBs do. And at first I would come around and they would tell me I act like I'm better than them, but like, nah, but there's just certain things I'm just not going to be a part of, man. Like, just certain things. And it was always because I don't smoke and I don't drink. So I was always sober in the mind, you know, and conscious of things. So at this point, I'm like, every young dude that comes through, it's kind of like one of our responsibilities to be that person that not just shows them the Navy ropes, man, but is able to give them some real navigational skills to be able to find yourself as you're making your way through this Navy. Because all those that don't find themselves, become consumed with the lifestyle. We know with the military lifestyle, the drinking and partying and battalion and get married to somebody you don't even love and having kids before you know it, and you don't even love her, but then you got a ready-made family and you're just in that cycle, and you can't wait to go on deployment because you don't want to be at home with the lady you don't love, But with him, he came in, and once he showed me that he was willing to at least hear what I had to say, then I started bringing him into my home and bringing him around my family and bringing him into like the most safest and the sacred spaces with me. So he got a chance to see me outside of just the green machine context. He knew when he came over.
You're the reason I started going to the gym. I would go to this dude's house. He'd be playing Madden, and now mind you, this dude beat me in Madden one time. I don't even want to admit this, and he was like, "I won't even throw a pass, and I won't even score on offense." And he damn sure did. He picked everything it was bad. But then I'd go into his house. He'd be sitting there playing Madden, and then he'd pause the game and be just dumbbelling it up, just dumbbelling. And I was like, man, what's this gym? What's this gym shit? He was like, bro, your energy, go to the gym. So he's the reason I started going to the gym like I did. So yeah, he definitely gave me some good life lessons.
So let me ask you, why'd you get out?
So
it feels like you figured it out, right? You figured it out. You know the way to go. You definitely wanted to mentor people and bring them in the right way. I'm just curious, like, why leave then?
So I feel like this is a safe enough space to be real with you, gentlemen.
Gotta be real.
So I had two things going on in my life at that point in time. One, I was moving myself into a position to where I had a family, and I was starting to think about, what it is that I want to do. And and what happened to me is I peaked a little too early. I made second class real quick and was crew leader and project soup and all that stuff while 22 years old, and everybody else gets to go on when we're on deployment. Everybody else gets to leave when it's time to cut out. And I got to go back to the meetings and deal with all the old salty first classes and chiefs that hate their life and hate with their wife and just want to stay there and work. So I'm that 22-year-old that really didn't, for two deployments, didn't really get a chance to really enjoy the deployments because I had all that responsibility, all that task, and that's one thing. But then two, to be honest with you, I started becoming resentful because at that particular juncture, I'm working for individuals that I'm smarter than. And what I mean by that is not to question their level of intelligence, but a lot of them did not have any ambition to do anything except for join Navy. And I've been a free thinker, and I'm trying to think about how can we change the impact that we have on new sailors coming in? How can we put together these little programs to kind of make it a smoother transition for young men of color specifically coming into a battalion, because the West Coast battalion was predominantly white, right? Oh, yeah. And so if we went to Gulfport, Mississippi to one of them battalions, it would have been a total flip, right?
Yeah, but it was pretty. I'm not going to say it was even, but I mean, I wouldn't have thought that the West Coast battalions were like that, to be honest.
So here's how it was. So in Alpha Company, I better tell you. So in Alpha Company, there'd be maybe one or two.
I think I had two of my deployments. We had like two black people on the whole. Yeah. You had a chief that was a Filipino. You had Chief Castro, and then you had Moore. His last name was Moore. I can't remember his first name, but Moore was the only black dude in the entire Alpha Company. And then we went on the detachment, and he went with us. There was no other. I mean, there's Filipinos and supply and shit for real.
Yeah, man. My introduction to a CB senior chief was Joe Robbie. He was a construction mechanic. He was he was a master chief at that point. And the first day that I went to quarters in Gulfport, we're on the grinder, and Joe Robbie, black dude, is at the thing. He's standing in front of Alpha Company, and he did, they go in and the XO or the ops is like report, right? And he went down the platoons, dude, and one of the CM platoons was like 2 UA, and this dude's eyes rolled so far back in his head, and he just gave the biggest very well. I was like, that dude's pissed. I was like, I'm never going to be late looking at him. Like, he was my introduction. That dude was the coolest guy I ever met, but he also was the guy that was like, just like you guys, you've described this whole way out, was fair. And he was like, listen, this is easy. This job's easy. All you got to do is show up on time, and you have to be there. So my look at the CBs is all East Coast. So everything that you're saying, I'm like fighting in the barracks, throwing shit.
Yeah.
We were trying to figure out where to go hang out. Where are we gonna go?
Bro, man, I had a dude named
start a
Paul
bonfire.
I'm sure Mo remembers him. A guy named Paul Fennell. He was Jamaican as fuck.
Yeah.
Like he was Jamaican. And we was in the Bears. He gave me a ride one time back from one of our football games, and I was in a car with him, and somebody in the Bears was screaming at us, like yelling crazy shit, and then like came out of their room. And this dude, bro, we're in battalion. We're on a base. We're in the military. He slams on the brakes in his car, hops the fuck out, and grabs a machete out of his back seat. He's like, "What's up, bum?" Doing? He was like, "I'm about to chop this motherfucker. I'm about to chop this motherfucker's head off." If he comes up to this car, I'm like, please take me to my room first before we start chopping anything off of motherfuckers. Man. But I'm telling you, there were some wild motherfuckers in the battalion.
Yeah, but you know, when we were on deployments, you know, early, you know, whenever we would go, like my rotation of deployments, I was in 74. So we went Okinawa, and we went Okinawa, Rhoda, Roosevelt Roads, and I can't remember the other one we went to, but when we were making those deployment rotations, anytime we had to follow 40, we were like, oh my God, dude. Because we knew equipment availability is going to be like 4. And then you hear that they had like record captain's masks on the deployment. I was always like, what? And now it makes sense. I mean, I never knew. I was never a West Coast.
Yeah, I mean, it was, you know, that was the culture back then. But like I said, I was thinking even then, I'm like, there has to be a way to integrate, especially these young CBs of color into this in a way in which it just isn't so off-putting, right? And so I had bit the hook. At that point, my plan was to just do 5 years. I had joined the Navy apprenticeship program. I was getting my hours and filling out my little log sheets and all that stuff. And because once you complete that, then they would pay for up to 2 times for you to take the journeyman's test. Because at that point in time, I was thinking I was going to try and go to be a plumber at a plumbing local. That was my original plan. So I was the guy that always had a book, you know, whether it was PQS's, whether it was the UT 1 or 2 or 1 exam, you know, prep books in my little side cargo pocket. So at that point in time, I was really on some. I needed to build myself up, and I had a couple of times when, like I said, when I was on deployment and I was the crew leader and the project super, I felt like they was questioning my intelligence, and there's a time where they tried to pin some stuff on me. They wanted me to go down for some stuff that I absolutely was not going to go down without swinging on it. And one of the best parts that I had relationships with a guy that I had served with in Keflavik, Iceland, that was in Sicily while I was there on deployment, and I spoke with his rank officer, and they actually helped me out of a jam. Like the chief and the senior chief actually was going to try to make me the fall guy for some things. So I'm taking all these experiences, and I'm like, I got to be able to find a way to create some kind of mentorship that's not just Navy mentorship. Because in that battalion, there was the Navy mentorship stuff, but like I said, when you're bringing people, not just black guys, but brown, other people of color into this, and there's no way to kind of like relate their life experiences to what it is you're trying to have them doing, there's that disconnect. So I'm trying to put these things together, and it just seems like every turn, you know, I'm getting blocked by you know, the Bravo company chief or these other people, and I'm like, I got way too much potential. There's just so much more that I really want to do with my life. There's so much more that I can do with my life. I feel like I peaked here. Like there's nothing else that I can do here in this battalion. I don't want to do the battalion round robin and stuff. And so at that point in time, I had met my now ex-wife, but I had met her, you know, fell in love, was laying there daydreaming and talking about manifesting these things into our lives. And I was like, you know what? The Navy isn't the end-all, cure-all for me. There's so many things that I could do in this life. And so I took a humanitarian, I took an extension and went on a humanitarian mission to this old Soviet bloc country called the Republic of Georgia. I went to the capital city, Tbilisi, and did some work there right around, well, I was actually there when 9/11 happened. And I kind of had an epiphany there because I was like, there's so much that I could be doing if I went back into the inner city communities and tried to prepare young people to live life to the extent that they don't feel trapped and say they have to just go to the military out of desperation. There has to be some other ways in which we can get people to make. Now, if they want to go to the military and take advantage of all the things that are benefits, that's one thing. But there's only two kind of people I ever knew in the military: people that were patriotic, that had people in their family that had served, or people that wanted to get out of their current situation. And so I started thinking about how can I be around young people before they make that decision to give up years and years of their life. So when I came back from Georgia, I had my son on the way, and I could have took shore duty. I had contemplated just taking shore duty and going to NAS Dallas Fort Worth. There was a base down there. I had my buddy that had got out. He was there, but I was like, nah, if I go one more enlistment, I might cave into that thing that the Navy does a great job of getting you to believe, which is that
you're already at 10. Might as well do 20.
Yeah, and it's not going to be any easier anywhere else. Now that you done did 10 here, you can just skate the rest of the time, right? I still had that burning desire to continue to chase after my magnificent obsession, right? I just didn't know what it was when I was in the military. But towards the end of my military career is when I really, really started thinking about working with youth. And that's what led me to say, you know what? I did my 5.5 years. I'm going to take my show on the road. I'll finish out my obligated serve time in the reserves, which I did. But I just realized, man, that I wasn't going to be able to live up to my full potential in the United States Navy uniform. I could have played. I learned how to play the game, learned how to network, always had the best intentions, never railroaded nobody, never fucked nobody over, know how to play politics and all that good stuff. Knew enough people. I knew it was about who you know and not what you know, but I just didn't want to play that game in that particular outfit because I just felt like I had too many restrictions in that,
Well, the Navy is the big microcosm of society anyway, right? If you can figure out how to navigate society in whatever situation you're coming from, there is no doubt that in any situation you're in the military, there's a way to navigate it there. Because when you get into the military, you're going to find groups or packs of people that have, found their way together through just cultural, similarities or being from the same area. And you can easily integrate into a group in the military always because that's familiar. But then once you figure out that you can do the same thing in other groups, right, which is what you figured out, right? Like, you're able to navigate this across that. Like, the best people figure out how to do that. I just think, where you were at and the way that you're talking to us today, you're a guy that if you would have stayed in, you would have been one hell of a command master chief for a lot of sailors based on the way you look at things, the way that you do things, because you're people first, right? And that's what good CMCs do. So that's why I was curious, when you got out, like you obviously makes sense at 22. You don't get to go drink and hang out. You got to go hear old men bitch and talk about all the dumb shit that they do that you don't care about because they're all old and out of touch with everything. But, the future of what you would have had to stay there, I think would have been good. But you know what? You're CMCing it right now where you're at, you may not have done that in the Navy, but the way you're approaching these kids and what you're doing, you're a CMC in their minds. You're giving, them the best of yourself like they gave to you when you joined in. So I just, that's why I was curious why you got out.
No, I appreciate that. No, and you're spot on. And I've had real and imagined confirmation to that. Being that I've came and gone, and I currently reside in Port Hueneme area, right? So I'm back, a couple blocks from the base.
You're in high school, right, Mo? Where
yeah.
Are you teaching at?
Yeah. Well, right now I'm in Santa Paula High School, which is in Santa Paula. It's about 20 miles north of here. But my thing is that I'm still, we came back here to Hueneme in 2014, and when I would frequent the base, I would see Seabees that were underneath my tutelage that had stayed, and did their time. And in two instances, I'm not speaking negatively about them, but I remember trying to convince them to turn their life around while we were, back on deployment at our young tender age of 22, 23. And one of them was the senior chief and one was the master chief. And I was like, And I said it to him because we had that relationship. You know, in the service, you're brutally honest. And I told him, I was like, man, if the Navy let y'all be senior chiefs and master chiefs, shit, I would have been the Mac Pond around here, man.
I'm with you. They made me a senior chief, bro. Can you imagine? They made me a senior chief. Like, bro,
as much as Napoleon Dynamite, they let you be a senior chief, bro.
Yeah, bro.
Bro. Yeah,
it's
so
hot.
I mean, to be able to still stay close enough proximity to still see, I don't see him too much no more. Because right now, if I were to clock where I'm at now, I would be at 20. It'd been 28 years, so that's way past. So guys have now retired or moved on to different duty stations. But there was a period of time when the first 3 or 4 years I got back, I used to see a lot of CBs that Al and I had served with, and it was good to see that they made their way through the ranks. But I did have that desire. One of my buddies that kind of brought me through the ranks used to kind of like clown me a little bit because I was doing by the time I got in my first year battalion under my belt, I had all my PQSs all the way to Master Chief done and already in my file. And he used to always joke with me and be like, man, why are you wasting your time on that? But he was a career green machine. He was in 74 and had crossed over and came over this side of 3. And so I was driven.
Who was that, Mo? Who was he?
Dana Stevenson. See, he left. You remember Stevenson? He was here a little bit before, but he had hurt. He blew his knee. And so he stayed with the 31st and then ended up getting medical discharge. Went to go be a police officer in Fort Worth PD. But, he gave me just enough game and just enough hell to kind of keep me inspired. So I always looked at trying to be the best I could when I was in a uniform. Like, Al, if you remember, man, my shoes the boots used to be spit shine.
Oh, yeah.
Way before they made the boots that have the core frame tip. Like I used to take a great deal of pride when I came home to the barracks. The first thing I did, man, while everyone else is cracking open the cold, man, I would go ahead and iron up me a nice uniform with some Niagara starch. And then I would polish my boots. And
did you use that Stay Flow, the liquid? Stay Flow starch was shit.
Yeah.
I tell you what, though. Put it in a mop bucket, soak your uniform, and then iron it once it dried. Shit.
I tell you what, though. So first off, the story that you have is great. Like, we could talk to you for 7 more hours. It would be super easy. But I know that one of us does have some questions they would like to ask you because they just been taking notes the whole time. And I can see already that he's ready to ask those questions. I don't know if you've seen our show before, but one of us likes to turn the heat up. They like to ask some questions and get to know the inside. So I think right now would be an appropriate time to do that. What do you guys think?
I'm saying let's burn him up.
I know DJ's ready.
Let's do it.
Let's go, Scotty.
Stay ready. I'm always ready.
He's so ready. You don't need to change the hat coming up this time. He's ready to go now.
Let's go.
Yeah. So, okay. All right. So what we going to do? I try to change things up because the seat can't stay the seat unless it brings some heat. So what I'm going to do, I remember you said earlier you like sports. So we're going to do this in 3s. I'm going to give you 3 music questions. I'm gonna give you 3 life questions and 3 sports questions.
Bad.
See where you at. And then from there I'm gonna give you 2 other ones of my choosing. All right, so I'm gonna mix them up so they don't just go music, sports, and life. We're gonna mix them up a little bit. But first off, I like to do this. Top 5 MCs of all time, and I know you go back in the same era that I'm in. So I'm gonna turn it up now. Just remember, so that you understand the severity of the hotness. People gonna be watching, and this is gonna come up again at some point in time.
Okay.
But when we talk about the top 5 MCs, these are yours.
Okay.
These are your top 5 MCs of all time, and we're coming from about the same musical years, right?
Okay. Yes, sir.
Yeah, because I'm 74. I'm born in 74, so I know you.
Okay, I was born in 77, so I'm just right there behind you.
Yeah, we right there. Okay, so top 5 MCs.
Do we have to do them in order or just any 5?
Your top 5. I want you to put them in order. Top 5.
Okay.
Number 1.
So number 1 to me is Jay-Z.
Okay.
Number 2 to me is Pop.
Okay.
Number 3 to me has to be Biggie. Then I'm gonna go Eminem.
Okay.
As 4, And even though he doesn't get credited with his genius, he is one of the pioneers that put West Coast rap on the map way before they called it gangster rap. Ice Cube got to be 5 for me.
Ooh,
because without Ice Cube, there's no West Coast music.
Ooh, I like it. I like your list. I don't know if I would put Jay on the top, but I like your list. I'm pretty close with you on that, but I won't put Jay on the top.
And the way in which he puts together rhymes, can't take it from him.
Okay.
All
right, I'm with you on. I'm with you on that one. I can see some dispute a little bit, but we good with that. Chat, you guys in the chat, if you agree, go ahead and put in the chat. We good. All right, here we go. I got one for you. You're a sports guy. I'm not gonna give you the traditional one. I'm gonna give you a different one. I heard you say something about Seattle, so I'm gonna throw this one in there on you. Who's better overall? Lifetime sport achievement in the game that they played. Sean Kemp or Larry Bird? Who's a better power forward?
Oh, Larry Legend. Larry Legend.
Not let me see. Not Larry Bird. Larry Johnson. I'm sorry.
Grandmama. Okay.
Sean Kemp and Grandmama.
Ooh, I gotta go Rain Man.
Oh,
Hey, shots out to L.
Yeah.
But we gotta go Rain Man just because at 6'10", coming in when he came into the league, man, doing the stuff he did. I'll still never forget him coming down the lane and smashing on Alton Lister and pointing to him.
The point
like,
that
Okay. Yeah.
All right. I like it. Okay, here we go. Which one of these are worse, in your opinion? Is a drug dealer worse or a pimp? Which one is worse for society?
I would say a drug dealer is worse, in my humble opinion.
And why?
Okay, so I mean, we both agree that both are egregious, right? So we'll go ahead and say that as a disclaimer. But in some cases, a woman has a decision to make in what she can and cannot do with her body. And if it's done in a safe manner, you take away the potential for being raped or killed and that kind of stuff. You just look at the act itself. I think a woman should be able to decide whether or not what she's going to do with her body, period. Now, to be manipulated by a man, that taints it a bit. But as it relates to drug dealing, anytime someone is taking some mind and body altering drugs, you're not only harming yourself, but anyone else that's an extension of you, especially if you have kids or loved ones that you are deep in your addiction and negatively influenced. And I think that there's more of a reverberation of negative effects with people that get hooked on drugs. So the drug dealers facilitating that, right? Yeah. So every time someone is giving a person a drug, they're essentially setting this person on the path to have that domino effect where other people are going to be harmed with this one decision made for someone to shoot up or to snort or to smoke something. And so the supplier is complicit in the whole act because they say, demand dictates what's being sold. But again, if people didn't sell drugs, then there wouldn't be anybody to smoke drugs or to inhale drugs or to ingest drugs. So for me, I just think it's just if a man or a woman decide they're going to go behind closed doors and they're going to engage in a sexual act, to me, outside of, safe sex, the psychological effect stays with those two people. But drugs have a permeating effect on the whole environment, right? And then you breed this group of young men, particularly that want to grow up and emulate. So it's self-perpetuating, right?
Gotcha. Okay. I like how you did that. So you broke that down. You psychologically broke that down like KRS-One. You broke it down.
Yeah. I wanted to put him in my top 5, by the way.
Hey, let's come out. E40, Andre 3000, but we go. All right, here we go. In your opinion, my man, who's better out of these two? Usher Raymond or Chris Brown?
I would say I had to nod my hat to Usher Raymond, and here's why. One beget the other, right? Clearly, Chris Brown has more talent dancing than Usher does, but if we look at the totality of what they bring to it, right? Usher has worked himself into being a total package, and is an easy translatable crossover to mainstream, right?
Yeah.
He has that kind of elasticity where there's no space that you can categorize him. He makes love songs, he makes club songs, he makes vulnerable songs, he makes songs that just got catchy tunes. Chris Brown has whittled himself into this only hip-hop / R&B kind of creative, to where
Chris Brown can no longer sing Christmas songs.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's
Okay.
one. But then two, Usher does have, in my opinion, Usher does have more of a singer's voice than Chris Brown does, especially as Chris has done indulged in all these drugs and all this stuff. You know, not to say that Usher is the, you know, upper echelon as it comes to singing, but again, this dude has carved himself out of space to where he has a residency in Las Vegas.
Gotcha.
Right? Chris Brown ain't quite got that shit. Chris Brown limited himself.
I just saw him Friday. I look at that one and I'm like, I don't know. Chris Brown is.
Now he's tough, but I just feel like he has some limitations, though. I just feel like Chris Brown is self-mutilated his career. There was so many more now potential. Chris Brown could have easily been the next generation's Michael Jackson, but he's limited himself, deciding to make these bad decisions. He want to be a blood and want to make, you know, just things outside of just being the creative. Usher has always been in that lane, right?
Gotcha.
You know, so that's where I get it out of Usher.
All right, this is getting good. I can see Ty's palms sweating as we get close to the end of this one. I don't know which way it's going to go, but we're going to get there. All right, so here we go. In your opinion, who's better, Tracy McGrady or KD?
Ooh,
yeah, that's what.
All right, so we're saying no injuries. Just
your opinion. When you say the best of T-Mac and the best of KD, who's better?
Oh, I gotta go with T-Mac all day. Okay. I gotta go with Sleepy all day.
All right.
Not to take away anything from KD's body of work, but when I look at anyone, I'm looking at what ingredients they bring to whatever it is that they do, right?
I like what's cooking right now.
Okay, and so I can yield and concede that KD is a professional scorer, but KD has always been that guy that steps back and shied away from being that true leader and from taking the franchise and putting it on his back, right? He's always worked best when he's always had somebody else to take the heat for him, right? When it comes to McGrady has always been that dog. He left his cousin in a great situation in Toronto because he wanted to have his own team.
Yeah.
Everywhere he's went, from Orlando to Houston, like he wanted to be the best guy. Like he was chasing basketball immortality, and the only thing that stopped him is those darn knee injuries, right?
Yep.
And then you look at that will to compete. KD is smooth, and sometimes with smooth reserve guys, they get that little knock against them that they're just not as passionate. It looks like they're not inspired, and sometimes but you never had to question Tracy McGrady's tenacity or his desire to be great. Every time he stepped out on the court, he was trying to be great.
All right. I like it. I like that. See, look, I see Ty. Ty's loosening his neck. Matt's over there like, Matt. I can see Matt in the background right now.
That was the first terrible answer he gave all night.
All right, here we go. Let's get it. Got to ask the infamous question. I'm interested on what you're going to say with this one. And we're just going to go there. Here you go. You're standing in the mirror, butt stark naked. Name me one thing on you that you would like to be bigger and one thing on you that you would like to be smaller. It doesn't matter from head to toe.
Okay. All right. I mean, in all honesty, so
standing looking at yourself.
If I'm standing there looking at myself in the mirror, bro, I would like for my calves to be bigger because that's the bane of my existence.
Okay,
that's the bane of my existence. Just bad genetics. Can't grow my calves.
All right.
And smaller at this point in time, at 47 years old, man, I would probably like to have a little smaller waistline.
Okay, there you go. That's a good one. All right, bigger calves, smaller waist. All right, got it. All right, here we go. This is about to ruffle some. This is gonna ruffle some bridges, bro. We gotta get it. We gotta get there. And I gotta get there. In your opinion, Jovan, who's better, LeBron James or Michael Jordan?
MJ.
God.
MJ is better. Now, here's why I say what Jordan was able to do was to turn the basketball game global. The way he was marketed and what he was able to do during his era caused people in all these various countries to actually like fall in love with basketball. And more importantly, everybody, whether he was tall or small, white or black, wanted to be like Mike, right? You stick your tongue out. Instead of just doing a nice little layup, you want to hang in the air and do an air reverse.
Magic and Dr. J.
But here's what Jordan was able to do. He was able to turn himself into a brand that those two were not, because it wasn't just Michael Jordan. He was also Air Jordan. And then in the playoffs, he was also MJ. And then as he developed into the fadeaway and became that iconic guy that he
like
is,
Jesus.
pushing Brian Russell blatantly and making the three, then he became JO. And here's what I always tell people, because I'm my students all the time, say LeBron James. Statistically, yeah, LeBron James. But here's what I know. There's not a lot of people I know that clamor to go out and buy LeBron James's basketball shoes.
Well, nobody. There's nobody other shoes.
Hold on. Okay, so I'll take it even a step further. And when you're playing pickup basketball, you're playing men's league basketball, seldom is anybody out there talking about their LeBron James or trying to pattern their game after LeBron James. Even though he's been highly successful, well-rounded, can do everything well now at this point in time, no one out there is trying to be like LeBron James. No one tries to emulate LeBron James. Maybe a 10-year-old might want to put some talcum powder in their hand and slap it up in the air. They think that's cool. But I'm talking about skill set. No one wants to be LeBron James. When you and I was coming up, dudes cut their hair bald when they had a full head of hair because they wanted to look like Jordan.
Yeah, he made that look good.
Right or wrong?
I would agree with you in that sense when you say that, because Michael Jordan didn't want to pass. So it's easy to say Jordan when you just do something all by yourself.
Okay,
and so that's why I say. I mean,
let's take it in a different direction. Let's go the exact opposite of this then.
Yeah.
How many people have you seen out there that has a well-defined, well-polished skill set playing pickup basketball that's talking about, oh, you see that pass? That pass is like LeBron. Or you see me almost get a triple double. No one references their game to LeBron James, and no one associates good, well-rounded fundamental basketball with LeBron James. You look at LeBron James as being great, and greatness, what he's able to achieve in a mass as far as accolades, right? But no one looks in the mirror and says they want to be Space Jam LeBron.
Yeah, it's harder to be more good looking than Michael Jordan, though. Like, Michael Jordan had the whole package. LeBron James looks like a football player in a basketball player's uniform. So it's kind of hard. Michael Jordan just had the whole thing. Like, when you just look at him, he just screamed.
And I got one more thing for you. I got one more thing that I think can cement this. If anybody right now could win a sweepstakes and be able to play on the court, play on the court and play one-on-one with LeBron James or Michael Jordan, I think more people around the world, if you just expand it globally, will want to have that opportunity to just get on the court with MJ, even though he's in his 60s at this point, right or wrong.
Yeah, I could agree with you on that aspect.
So once people start to have this whole folklorish kind of thought process, and when LeBron James becomes that enigma, as a, think of this. LeBron James still has no one that tried to clone him. Jordan spawned the Kobe Bryant. Everybody that likes the Black Mamba, hey, they have to concede that he was a clone of who? Jordan. There's no one in the league that's trying to clone. Zion's not trying to clone himself into being. There's nobody that's following after LeBron James's footsteps. So I think the impact is that Jordan actually created a whole generation of basketball players. I don't think that LeBron James.
I don't know. Ty, I see your face. What does that mean? What that mean? That's cold.
Facts.
That's cold.
Facts,
I don't like it. I don't like it. All right, moving right along. I don't like it. All right, here we go. We're going to change it up. Hurt my feelings, man, but it's okay. Jay, has there ever been a time that you weren't mentally okay?
Oh, yeah.
So when?
So different points in times in my life. I was not mentally okay from 10 years old to 12 years old. I wasn't mentally okay at 19 and 20 years old when I was in the military. And then I wasn't mentally okay at 25, 26. So there's three points in my life that I can think of where I seriously contemplating committing suicide. And one of those times I actually did attempt in my teenage years to do it. So I always have to recognize that I had gotten to those low points, and it wasn't just a victim of circumstances. It was just really, really some things going on emotionally and mentally in my head that we just weren't aware that you need to be able to address those things and find ways to find outlets for those things. I didn't have a good support system in those three particular times in my life. And like I said, I can recognize them now for what they were, and they were distressing times, and they were times where I was literally on the brink, man, of making a terrible decision.
Gotcha. So with that being in mind, and for the people who are watching, what would be your advice? Because you've been through it in three different phases. How did you push through it? Like what did you go to push through so that you didn't do the ultimate?
So to be completely honest, the first time that I tried, it was just a failed attempt, and I'm very, very thankful for that. It just so happens that I was able. My grandmother, got me to the hospital, and I got my stomach pumped in enough time. But I would say, as an adult, what helped me to get through that time was to actually come to the realization that it's okay to not be okay, and have to be able to have the courage to deal with that. Because one through line in my life, and I kind of very, very briefly touched upon it, for most of my youth, man, I just tried to be what I thought everyone wanted and needed me to be in order for me to gain and to get acceptance and to get that love that that I didn't get from my mother or father, and for that matter, anyone else in my household. I had financial support, and my grandmother looked out for me, and I had some people along the way, but it just took for me to get to a point where I had to just acknowledge that I'm in a broken state, and that I had a small little broken little 10-year-old boy inside of me that deserved to have answers to his questions, but then also deserved to have someone advocate for him and say, hey, these things are actually bothering me, these things are not okay, the things I experienced I should not have experienced. And then I put truth to power. So at that time when I was 24, 25 years old, that's when I started naming my accusers, and that's when I really started shaking up things in my family bloodline and calling people out for the stuff that they did to myself and others. And I remember I was new to Facebook in that vein, and everyone was clamoring and like, hey, get him off of Facebook, don't be saying that stuff. But I actually took my own power back, and I actually gained my voice, but it took for me to recognize that I was voiceless, and that I didn't have any power, and that I could not continue to live that way, or else I wouldn't be living for that much longer, right? So I just took a shot at myself, and once I started talking about these things that happened to me and these things that happened in my environment, then other people with like minds and things with similar stories started to show me that I wasn't the only one. So we all know that one of the key things to depression is isolation, and feeling like you're the only one that's going through something, and it just seems like it's something that's insurmountable. But once I started telling my truth and my story and gained more clarity on the circumstances in which I was born and things of that nature, then other people started sharing their stories with me, and I started realizing, okay, now I have a responsibility to fix the things that I can in myself, and the things that I can't, I got to be vulnerable enough to tell people that I can't fix them and seek out some help. So I didn't seek clinicians' help, I didn't seek professional help, but I had some people that I could bend their ear in some of my most vulnerable moments, and my most transparent moments, and just whether it was crying on the shoulder or calling up one of my battle boys, calling up one of my best bros and being like, look, man, this is just too heavy for me, bro. I need you to help me, you know? So
that's what I'm talking about. That's what it is, man. You got to do that. So people listening, you have to, I appreciate you giving us that, because you have to know that don't go through it alone. Call somebody, man. Don't go through it alone, because you will be surprised how relative these things are and how many other people are going through things. You're not alone out there. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. The elephant in the room. Ty, Matt, Al. You know, at this point, I'm scared to ask the question, but I gotta ask the damn question, because that's just what we do. Jay, come on, man, I'm counting on you, brother. I want you to break using the same breakdown as his Michael Jordan thing. Who's better, man? Prince or Michael Jackson?
So I'm gonna say Prince. And here's why I say Prince. You said break it down, so we're gonna break it down, right? As far as just being the king of pop, there's no other king of pop other than Michael Jackson. Okay. But the fact that Prince could play in a wide variety of instruments.
But this, so wait. Stop. We have to stop this, America. What instruments did Prince play? Since everybody talks about how many instruments did he play.
Okay, so what I know personally,
the piano and the guitar.
Okay, well, that's what I was about to say. The last time I checked, the piano and the guitar are instruments, right?
Yes.
Now it's been said, and you can Google and stuff, that he played percussion instruments and all that stuff. But let's just stay with these two, because I get a sense that you feel like these two ain't enough.
It's not.
The fact that man was able to take the guitar. Now, before him, Jimi Hendrix was the only other person that looked like you and I that could become synonymous with a guitar and guitar work. And I'm not talking about Bobby Blue Bland or any of the blues players that like that. Yes, they made their bones. But I'm saying in a modern era where it was pop music, right, pop culture, Prince was able to actually coin and make guitars that were the symbol of his name. That's one. Two, he made a whole movie about him and his guitar and everybody loved it, right? Three, the fact that he was able to create this very, very abstract while at the same time captivating music, that it didn't matter the coin the phrase for Michael Jackson, white or black. It doesn't matter if you're white or black. But Prince, everyone was so curious about the mystique that he was able to bring to his artistry. That was more than just him playing instruments. He played instruments. He had every bad woman that you would ever want to have on your arm. He had them. And then he still had bros in the hood talking about, I don't know if Prince is straight or if Prince is gay. Like, he created this whole enigma around who he was that was more than just the music. But then you look at how he was able to create films. Now, we can argue about whether Purple Rain is the only iconic movie. Some people say that Above a Cherry Moon, Below a Cherry Moon, the other works that he did. Mike Jackson had his Moonwalker movie. Depending on who you talk to, man. The music was great, sonically it was great, but the movie was a little cheesy. Then you look at what he was able to do for speaking out against the machine called the music industry, right? You got to be able to put that into the packet, right? Because Prince not only was a musician, but he's a musician's musician. And Prince took these leaps and bounds and he went out on these limbs and these ledges in the name of artistry that Mike Jackson did not, right? We all know that Mike Jackson was Joe Jackson's son that was thrust into the spotlight at an early age and was basically robbed of a childhood. And then we look at Bad, we look at Thriller, right? With all that iconic.
You got my mom Googling how many instruments Prince played. I know she Googled it because she didn't know that right at the top. So let's do this real quick for time's sake. Give me 5 Prince songs right off the top. Come on, let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 songs.
Okay, Diamonds and Pearls.
Yep.
Diamonds and Pearls.
Yep.
Darling Nikki. Purple Rain.
Yep.
Beautiful Ones. And When Doves Cry.
Okay. All right. So there you go. Now I bet you couldn't give me 5 more.
Oh, I could give you 5 more.
No.
We want to go.
Let's try. Go.
What do you mean? Okay,
It's right.
Raspberry Beret.
Okay.
Right. That's a song, right?
Yep, that's a song.
Okay. Then we can go with you're right.
Get longer.
You're right.
Get longer.
It's getting longer.
Yeah. But everybody talks about how great he is, but we got six songs.
No. In my defense,
yes.
I can sing the songs, but I don't know the name of the song, so that's a little different.
Okay, so now give me 5 Michael Jackson songs.
Okay, so we got classic Human Nature, we got Beat It, we got Billie Jean, we got Thriller, and
Off the Wall. You go all day long. You can go all day long. We're going to just sit here and say that this man plays 27 instruments, so now all of a sudden the world loves him because he plays 27.
No.
You know how many instruments I play? 28.
It's not that.
Nobody gives a damn about me. I play 28 instruments.
But here's the thing.
Yes.
I said Prince has been able to maneuver himself into being an enigma.
Michael Jackson's been in the game since he was 5 to 50. That's 45 years of music in Michael Jackson.
So listen, well, we can break that down. But he
said what he said.
He wasn't in the game of his own volition. He was actually a personification of how some parents would totally live out their life vicariously through their children.
I got it.
So when we get to Prince, not to say that he didn't have a shaky childhood in Minneapolis and with being the Jehovah's Witness, but what I'm saying is this. More people wanted to be like Michael Jackson when it came to the dance game and not necessarily the singing game. But when you wanted to impress a woman and when you wanted to really, really say some stuff that might get you a Sheila E., a Sheila Easton, them type of ones, you pull out your Prince song real quick. Baby.
All right, I got you. Well, Ty, you know what to do. You know what it is. Go ahead.
Just want your extra time, yo. Oh, baby, move it, baby.
Prince has officially got to 25. I'm at this point now where I'm just starting to feel like I'm just by myself. We're gonna have to change this up. Michael Jackson, I love you. Rest in peace, brother. But for the sake of this, I don't feel like you're gonna be able to catch up because America has passed its votes. The votes are not fake, and I think we're gonna have to do it, man. I'm sorry, Mike, but I try to get you in the game. I'm gonna have to move on. Ty, you're gonna have to
take a moment of silence for Michael Jackson.
A moment of silence for
Mike.
Mike.
A couple seconds for Michael. All right, we're good.
All right, we're good. All right, last question.
Mm-hmm.
You've been on here, man. You've been a great guest. You have great stories. You're just a great person, man. And I think the military, like to what Matt was saying, the military would have been better with you in it longer. I know, but you're still doing stuff and you're still giving back and pouring into the youth, man. And I really have a soft spot in my heart for males that do that, especially looking like us. Yeah. So I appreciate that, man. I'm thankful that you came on here and chilled out with us. But since you have done that, and I'm sure at this point in time, everybody is doing podcasts and doing stuff like that. But you had the opportunity to sit with the Triple Threat Vet crew, myself, Ty, Matt, and your boy Al that you know from the CBs and everything else like that. But based off of what we're doing in our podcast, and now that you've been on it, where do you rate our podcast from a 1 to 10 and why? What could we do better? And what, that whole thing. Where do you rate us, man?
So, of course, man, I got to give you guys a 10, and it's not a biased 10. Here's why I'm prepared to give you all a 10. One, you are an eclectic group of gentlemen that all, and this is evident from the moment you guys sub me in, all have a different perspective and a different skill set to bring to the table, right? That's one. Two, you all work well and feed off each other, and everyone has their role. And to the best of my observation, there's no divas here. There's no one that's trying to outshine the other. You guys all work seamlessly to make sure that there's a certain flow and there's a certain pace. Three, I think you all did a great job of being able to just gauge who the person is you're having on, feed off of that energy, check out that vibrational field, and decide that you're going to allow that show to be uniquely your guest show. And so I feel like you guys matched my energy and my vibe and still was able to be yourself. And then the last reason why I think I'll give you a 10 out of 10 for sure is, man, you guys got all kind of graphics. You guys got all kind of interactive ways in which you challenge the speaker. You kept me on my toes. You also provided a safe space. And I think that in this podcasting space, man, where there's so many individuals that are looking to lead somebody down the road to a clickbait type of moment, I felt real safe being myself with you all. I felt like you guys understood that, you know, giving someone an opportunity to speak their mind while still, you know, narrating and kind of guiding it down the lane to where, you know, a person doesn't, you know, get out of bounds or say something that they can regret later. I didn't feel like any of the questions were misleading or trying to get me out of character. They were to actually pick my brain and see exactly what my perspective was on things, which is great because, you know, you all are rocking and rolling on it here. And sometimes I think I consume some podcasts where if it's not to come up with some sort of clickbait or to kind of drive home some already finite point that the podcasters want to drive home, then they just pretty much cherry pick the individuals that are going to come onto the podcast, right? And so I feel like this was completely organic. I like the fact that you took the time to kind of listen to some of the bits and pieces and then re-script some of your this or that questions to kind of, you know, to kind of personalize it, man. And that shows you guys' professionalism. That shows the fact that you all, you know, are taking this thing seriously. You guys aren't here just playing. It's a testament to the fact that you all want to put together a good product. And the fact that you're asking for constructive feedback is another thing, you know, and that comes from us all being in the military service, whether we like it or not. We all have to get that evaluation. And you gentlemen understand that if the goal is to get better, you got to actually be able to be transparent and allow people to give you critiques, whether they're good or bad, in a safe enough space to where somebody could give you, a good, honest critique of what it is. And so I'm happy with just being a part of this, man. You know, you guys did a great job of welcoming me in. And so you get that 10 out of 10 for me, bro.
All right, man. I appreciate it, man. Hey, like I say, for the first time in my podcasting, you have been able to shut me down on not only LeBron James, but Mr. Michael Jackson himself. And I have no argument. I know I can't win every fight, and I have to take my loss across the chin. And I like your perspective. I like the way you break things down. You're very articulate with your words, and you're very easy to talk to. And we really appreciate you coming on, man. I know from here, the Big High Tizzle for Shizzle Dizzle, we have a lot of similarities. I do want to get your number and talk to you down the line, man, because I think we have a lot of things to talk about. But I appreciate you giving your time as well, man, because this was about you. And you gave your time. You didn't make us feel rushed. And I know you got family. I've seen some come in, and you got things to do. But you could have been anywhere in the world, but you spent this time with us today, and we appreciate it. And we really commend you for what you do and who you are, man. And I challenge you to keep pushing forward and keep improving the lives of the young men that submerge themselves in your presence, bro.
No, thank you for the opportunity, man, and thank you for the high praise, man. You know, it's been a pleasure being on this here platform, and since we're now connected, man, we all know that this is a small world. I'm a phone call or a text message away, bro. So, you know, I'm always about networking. I'm always about building out support systems, and always looking for opportunities to be able to be of service to people. So, you know, just another excuse, man, to keep my ears to the streets and see if there's an opportunity to build something with you guys in any endeavor, you know, or, you know, circle back, you know, at some point, you know, just to kind of see, you know, where, you know, I don't know if you guys do check-in shows to be like, hey, where's this guy at now? Type stuff, you know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying? But listen, man, I'm just thoroughly impressed with the way you guys put this thing together, man. I saw one full episode and one half episode a few months ago when Al had first tipped me my hat to you guys is doing this, and one of them was an actual previous veteran such as ourselves, and the other one she was someone that worked for an organization that provided services and supports for military members. Like, that's cool that you guys are really looking out for the vet and looking at, you know, 3, 4, 5, 6 different angles to be able to help service veterans and really make us feel like, you know, we're still important, even though, you know, we're out of the uniform and we're moving on to bigger and better things. So I was tempted to watch one yesterday just to get a feel, but I was like, no, I want this to be organic.
There you go.
Yeah.
So now you can go back and watch all of them.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
tell everybody else that you know to watch.
Oh
more.
yeah. I'm gonna try and push more traffic you guys' way, man. What you guys do is awesome.
My man, there you go. There you have it. You officially survived the heat.
Yeah, but I'm just gonna let you know real quick. Al Hero is never gonna be the same. You actually called him professional. It is not gonna be the same ever again, dude.
That's it.
First of
I
all,
thought I'll do this, and you said y'all are professional. Al was like,
Yeah.
First of all, professionalism it's a different. You know, I mean, there's wide ranges of professionalism. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, you got that PQS signed off now, so no longer can you go back to being unprofessional. You got that professional stamp now from certified.
you have standards to uphold, shit,
Hey,
mate.
I'm gonna be me till I die. Bruh. Yo,
Hey, Al. Well, Al, if you need it out, you know, I said you all. I didn't say.
Yeah, you said
all.
you all. He didn't say
I didn't say all.
Thanks, Mom. Bro.
So we can. Yeah, we can
Look at that. He's still taking care of you, Albert.
He does, bro. Hey,
To this day.
I was joking with Ty. I was like, if I call Mo, was like, and I was like, hey, bro, I need some help on my fantasy picks. Like, who do I? He's got me. He's got me. If I need a call about, like, man, I'm having some problems in my family. What would your recommendations be? He's got me. But if it could be whatever, I got it.
But let's ask this question though: did he call you to run by his OnlyFans idea with you?
No.
You guys need to talk about that offline. But you need to save him, Jay. I'm just telling you.
You shot it down. You shot it down, man. You said nobody.
I sure did. But you probably need the voice of reason to shoot that one down too, because I know you still think about it.
Yeah.
Come on,
the only reason I won't bring it up is because Scott's mom's watching and I respect her, and I'm not.
That's why I was like, y'all need to take care of that offline. But you need to keep him on the straight and narrow on that one.
2 months from now, when I tell you I'm off this podcast because I'm rich, bitch, you'll be mad at me, okay?
I was like, I quit all my jobs. I'm making lots of money.
Right.
My lights will come in real handy for my OnlyFans idea.
Don't do it, Al. Come on, bro.
Get a camera with a zoom lens. Got this.
Hey, we can't have you on the same. We can't have you in the same level as that Cash Me Outside girl, bro.
Right.
Yeah.
This is worse than what she did. Shit.
Real quick, Bob, I'm just going to let you know for anybody that's out there, when your kids go to high school and they go in the door, you have to sign something saying yes or no that you'll let recruiters call or they can be solicited. So here's what I didn't know. If you say no to the recruiters calling, then anytime your kids are in anything for school or they're a part of organizations, the school can't publish it and put them in those showing they're a part of it because you said no to everything. So that's how they got our number, because Cole put his mom's number down as his number when he filled it out. So they all call his mom. Yeah. So Cole did it to his mom, not me. But yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna take this time. Shouts out to Johnny Guy, man. Wherever you at, man. I wanted to wring his neck for a number of years, man. But the reality is that, man, he, whether it was intentionally or not, man, he did give me an opportunity to change my whole life.
There you go.
With that one decision, and there's no step that happened between me making that decision to now that wasn't ordered by God and wasn't something that was meant to, add to who I am as a person. So I spent a lot of years being mad, like most of us veterans, about our recruiters, man. But He did actually put me on the pathway to becoming my best version of myself, man. So I can't take that from him.
There you go. Shout out. Yeah, man.
There you go. Well, Jay, we appreciate you coming on, man. Like I said, we could talk to you for
that was
forever.
Easy.
And so just so you know, check-in shows, you might have to have a whole nother show, because honestly, for everybody we didn't even really get into what you're doing today and how you're helping people. And that in itself is its own show. So I mean, you're just keep an open calendar, man, because we do want to share the things you're doing now with kids and how you're helping them and get more in depth to that, because it's important. I mean, we were talking about it before we came on today, things that are happening in education and how it works and why certain things happen. And I think it's just important to bring you back. So just kind of keep the calendar open.
I'd be honored, man. All you guys got to do is just give me a couple of dates, man. I'll make one of them work.
There we go.
Well, I'll definitely send you some dates. I know that Al told me a couple of days ago. He's like, "You're gonna love this guy. He comes on. He's gonna wax poetic." And you absolutely took the waxing poetic to a different level. I took a bunch of notes. Normally, when we have Navy guys on, I take notes so I know what the hell I'm talking about. But I'm looking at all this stuff. I mean, Your mother had you at 13. You ended up growing
Mm-hmm.
up with your grandmother who had 18 kids. I mean, you had to be a code switcher, man. You had to know how to deal with every group of people that there was in your life. And I commend you for that, and the insight and the detail that you have and are willing to share. We didn't even get to hear any Bad Al hero stories, so we got to have you back.
There's episode 3.
I'm going to send you another couple dates, and we'll get you back on. But thank you so much, brother.
Hey,
Episode 2 is education, and episode 3 is Al did what?
Hey, first of all, are we going to do these football picks? We need to keep him on for the picks. I want to see who he picks.
Yeah, we're going to do the football picks.
Check this out. Just so you can even see how close this is. You said your grandmother had 18 kids, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So my grandmother, between my grandmother and my grandfather, there was 16. My grandmother had 8, and my grandfather had 8. So there was 16. That's even crazy that it's even that close.
Bruh, I'm telling you, man.
Like you're like my twin on the other side. Like we lived the same life in 2 different lives.
Hey, it's like the multiverse, bro.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We both the same Marvel character, man. We just 2 different realities, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
we had 2 different timelines, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's crazy. But yeah, that's good stuff. It's just a crazy coincidence. Like that's the closest I've ever had somebody that's that similar on so many aspects. It's crazy work. But yeah.
So who we got coming up next? What's coming up here? Since we're gonna keep you on for the picks.
Yeah, let's get through this real quick. Actually, we got to take a quick break because I got to play a video real quick. So future guest, next week we have Nick Palmisano coming on, Army West Pointer, was with Ranger Up. He is now the CEO of Dieseljack Media. He's got a new show called Office Joe coming out. And he actually was a part of Rescue Our Heroes. So he was part of that 13 people that went over to Afghanistan and rescued a bunch of our interpreters when the shutdown of Afghanistan. So we're gonna see this guy's story, another great story, and we'll have him on next week. So take us to break real quick, Scott, and we'll come back and do the picks right after this.
All right. Well, you know what it is. This is the Triple Threat Vet Podcast. I'm your man, DJ World T. We have been in the building live with the Triple Threat Vet crew, and my man Jovan has been in the building with us tonight, waxing poetic. We're going to take a quick break real quick so you guys can get your sports hats on, ready for these sports picks. Don't go no way. Get yourself something to drink, get your mind ready to think, and we'll be right back after these messages.
I'm here to pick up my DD-214 and become a civilian. In the military, they say that 10 minutes early is on time, and on time is late.
The newest member of the Gas Dog family, Joe Hauser!
Team at Gasoline Dog Media hired me right out of the military, and I want to prove I am worth the risk.
I hate him.
I hate him.
Just a constant nuisance.
Moron thinks he can step to me.
Kind of feels like the Army.
You didn't succeed in the Army by being like other people. You embraced what you were good at and you doubled down on it. That is what made you an exceptional soldier.
You're a jumper in the door of a C-130, baby, and that mission's coming.
This kite will keep us going for the rest of the year. I want a campaign.
So you're trying to take out a meme page?
We just really need the money.
It looks like old Gasoline Dog is really circling the drain.
It may seem like a cute little media company from the outside, but from the inside, it's a festering sore.
I had a bunch of new coworkers who are all a little insane and would never hang out with each other under any other circumstances than this job.
They get dumber and dumber every year.
I don't know where they find them, bro.
We pay them barely over minimum wage.
Oh, I love that.
Yes.
I'm sure that everything is different in the military.
They don't get my jokes. They don't get me. No one's in danger. No one's dying.
What you're experiencing is no different than what every veteran goes through.
I can't believe you have the audacity to even come at me.
Ninjas were the special operations of their time.
You turned in the uniform, but you're still carrying around that invisible rucksack.
So I need to remember what it was like to be a new sergeant?
Lead them, Joe.
You guys talk a big game. You never deliver. It's not about me. It's about each other.
We want to crush flies. We want to destroy them. We want to go to their homes, insult the thief.
That's the literal definition of a war crime.
This is ridiculous. You're not going to get away with this.
You're hot or cold, hot or cold. You're hot. This is a Benedict Arnold. Brutus stabbing Caesar.
Am I afraid of being sunk to the bottom of the ocean? Fuel always floats to the top.
It's survival of the fittest, Lucius.
And we're the fit.
You know what? Maybe it's not so bad here.
That's cool, man.
On average, we lose 22 veterans to suicide every single day. These heroes who once fought for our freedom now battle invisible wounds. Mission 22 is dedicated to healing our veterans and providing them the support they need. As a leader in our community, we stand with Mission 22 as we believe in giving back to those who have given up so much for us. It's our way of saying, thank you for your service. For more information, visit mission22.com.
Yeah. So that was a new show, Office Joe. That's you can see it's got Vincent Rocco Vargas in it, Tim Kennedy, and then of course it's created by Nick Palmisano, who's going to be our guest next week. So
hey, Ty, Mama Cobb's going to bed. We just want to tell her good night. We love you too.
Good night, Mama Cobb.
Yep. Man, what is
that? No.
What is that you are wearing on your head?
Look, he said, you bring the fire hat, I'm bringing the nation hat. Let's go.
What is that? What is that?
Are you an Oakland Raiders fan, an LA Raiders fan, or a Las Vegas Raiders fan?
I'm an Oakland Raiders fan.
There you go.
Legacy, John Madden. EA Sports.
Davis, we didn't mess around.
Just win, baby.
All right, here we go. I think I did pretty good this week, except for one game.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Stop. We didn't have to bring it up in front of everybody.
Texas A&M.
Yeah, look, I said from the jump they needed a different quarterback in that game, and I was right. So there's that. But their defense is lights out, dude. Texas scored 0 in the second half. They just couldn't find a quarterback that could throw the ball. Anyway, let's go look at how bad I did. Let's look at how bad.
All right, here we go. We won again in the fantasy kicking ass.
There you go, Josh Allen. It's about time.
Oh, Josh Allen's a stud, bro.
And then he starts playing.
Time. Josh Allen's a stud, bro.
He's not been that good this season for fantasy until we started talking about cutting him. He watches this podcast and said, I got to come through for those guys.
He needed some snow.
Is that what it was?
Real snow, y'all. Like snow on the ground, really cold, not that kind of snow.
Yeah, but we're sitting atop at 10-3, doing good, moving into the playoff. We got one more game, then moving to the playoffs, so we're looking good. We're locked for the playoffs, number 1 seed right now. So we do have a bye for our kicker. I picked up the Miami kicker. I tried to pull him up. I'll let you know what happened there, and I just moved Kittle into the tight end, and I moved Devontae Adams into the flex.
All right,
word.
So all right, cool. All right, here we go. Notre Dame beat USC. Georgia beat Georgia Tech. Texas A&M lost to Texas. Colorado beat Oklahoma State 52-0.
No, rewind that. They didn't beat them.
God. Can we get past Colorado without a 10-minute conversation?
Well, BYU just shut them down because BYU won. So Colorado
it's okay. I know that makes you happy, Al.
It doesn't. It does not. It does not. It does not. It does not. I really wanted to see Colorado.
We need to put Colorado at the bottom of the list from now on. We need to get to them last.
No, I honestly hope Colorado squeezes into that playoff bracket somehow. Just because I really want to see how they do against real teams, right? And see what happens. And maybe they do great. I really wanted Colorado to be in that group just because I want to see what they can do against real talent. That's really the truth.
Okay. All right, sweet. Kentucky lost to Louisville 14-41. David Willis, you are a very handsome man. You are very smart, and I'm not very.
Did y'all really bet that?
Damn.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh.
I mean, I don't even know what to say about this.
All I'm going to say is thanks, Kentucky. You did it again.
Yeah. They finished 4-8. They are absolutely they're not even bowl eligible this year. So we'll see what happens next year. Army beat UT San Antonio, and then Air Force beat
I don't remember what I picked on that game. I can't remember if I.
I'm about to let you know.
Oh,
All right, you picked well. So Al went
bless
6-2.
America.
Matt went 5-3. We both went 7-1.
Yeah,
Scott. So
right.
as you can see,
what's the one we missed? Was the what game was
Kentucky
that?
game.
Yeah.
No, I didn't pick Kentucky.
Yes, you did.
I couldn't have.
The one I missed was Kentucky. The one that
You probably missed the Air Force
missed.
game.
I think I missed the Air Force one.
Yeah, you picked San Diego State.
Yeah, that's where I
Air
messed
Force.
up.
I picked Kentucky. That's the only one I missed. But
Yeah.
as you can see, Matt and I are now tied for the lead. Essentially, there with.
So why are you number 1 and I'm number 2? Then we should both be number 1.
Well, no, not technically, because the power rankings, I had a 7-1 record this week, and you had a 5-3 record. So that's why I am number 1 in the power rankings this
How
week.
many weeks have I won overall? Let's go to that power
Hey,
ranking.
no one
That's
gives
not part of
first of all, and
that's
no
not
one
part
gives
of
a
the
fuck.
matrix.
I get
I
it. It's
made up
not
the
part
matrix.
of Ty's power rankings that he's going to rank it at.
That's right.
Fuck, I'm at number 2.
Shut
The
your
downhill
motherfucking
spiral
ass
has
up.
started.
Well, I mean,
Shut
you're
up.
number 2 in the power rankings. You're still technically tied for number 1 overall.
Yeah,
So
coming from Al, he's like mad. Why are you mad, bro?
I'm not mad. Well,
Dusty
first of
Rudd
all,
didn't come for you this year.
Hey,
He didn't come through, dude.
First fucking all, there's a bunch of people on this podcast, minus Scott Blake, who still owe me a bottle from last year. So that's all I want to say.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm trying to help
you
with
keep
your
saying that, but, I mean,
with your
didn't I
health.
give you a bottle when you were here when you stayed at my house? I
No,
did.
we drank your bottle. I didn't take it.
Oh, okay. So you didn't get to take. I got you. My bad. Okay, not a problem.
Okay, that counts.
I got
So
you.
I'm one game behind you guys.
I'm
Yeah,
a lot of
and
games
then
behind.
Scott
This is
made up
bullshit.
a bunch of places this week.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, so for this week, we only got 2 games to pick.
Only 2?
Only
we
2.
got to. Can we get some other ones from the outside?
Yeah, can we throw some damn?
No, because the games are going to come through in the coming
Oh,
weeks
yeah,
once they
yeah.
pick out their bowl games. So this is the teams we started with. This teams we got.
Texas gonna be Georgia Bulldogs. I know that.
Well, I mean, let's wait. Hold on.
I just don't mess with Al. You know, I'm just saying.
All right,
I'd probably agree with you.
Georgia and Texas. Who you got, Al?
Come on, Homer.
Trying to bait him.
I'm with Scott. I think Texas is going to win it. I do, but I can't with my heart go against my dog. So I'm gonna pull for Georgia. Fuck it. I'm already losing. I can't get no loserish. I'm already losing, bro.
Buddy.
Fucking GA, bro. Fuck Texas.
Okay.
Horns down. Horns down. The whole state of Texas can suck my dick from the back.
Good Lord.
Wow.
Dang.
Yeah.
Whole state. Your whole state.
Wow.
Fuck your state.
All right. Well, you just got banned. You better not cross.
Yeah.
Come on, homie.
Yeah.
Ooh.
You better drive around Oklahoma.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
Damn.
No, swim through Mexico.
Hey, they already get Al, y'all. Every time he flies into Dallas, he gets laid over for like 7 hours
Hey,
in
bro,
the airport.
that's why they hate me. It's all good. The borders are wide open. I'll just swim through Mexico and come up through El Paso.
That's what you're gonna have to do. That's what you're gonna have to do. You're gonna go through Mexico, swim through, and get past the border.
Shit, I'll get a coyote. They'll get me across.
All right, who you
I'm
got,
gonna
Matt?
call Rocco Vargas and tell him your comments when you meet you there.
Yeah.
Damn, not that big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who you got, Matt?
Go ahead and say it, Matt. Say the team that whooped your team.
You know what? But here's the thing. I think it's really hard to beat the same team twice in a season. And Georgia did it in Austin, right?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
In Austin.
Mm-hmm.
Carson Beck is too
He sucks. Carson Beck is garbage, bro.
What we doing? He got good hair though.
However,
big ass teeth.
he gets fucking lucky, dude. He gets lucky. He brings him back, bro.
He's almost lucky as Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah,
for sure.
I can't
For
stand
sure.
Patrick Mahomes, goofy
I
looking
can't
Kermit the
either,
Frog looking motherfucker.
What you got, Matt? Come on, you in the hot seat now. Put
I
the hot
am.
music on him. Put the hot music on.
You know what? I need to not let Scott catch. I have to go Texas, dude. Texas is winning. I have to. Texas is winning.
All right.
That's so Scott can pick Georgia, and I can get another game up on him because I don't need him to catch up.
All right, Scott, who you got?
The crazy thing is this, man.
So you
my
picked Texas.
my heart is telling me one thing. But
Me too. I feel you.
But I'm going with Texas. I think Texas is gonna get it. I think it's time for Texas to turn up.
Okay.
I don't like the way you said that, but
Yeah.
whatever.
I think it
He
is.
turned
I
up
mean,
last week on
it-
Texas
it-
A&M's ass.
If it would have been last year, I would have said Georgia, no question. But I'm taking Texas.
Yeah, for sure. Again, Carson Beck's inconsistent. He likes to throw picks.
He's only thrown like 42 picks. Like, was that a big deal? I mean, really?
Sarkisian has them dudes rolling, bro.
Yep.
And here's the other part. They're going to do exactly to Georgia what they did to A&M last week. Because when they get down in the red zone, they're just going to throw Arch Manning in there. Now, what are you going to do? Because that dude can run, and we already know he can throw.
Hey, Georgia's defense is nasty, though. So I hope they
and don't. A&M's defense is nasty. They held them scoreless in the second half, bro.
Fuck Arch Manning and his daddy and his uncle. Fuck.
Wow. Well, you can say that when he's in Alabama next year.
Jay? What'd you say on this one?
I'm gonna have to go here.
Oh, you going
Damn,
Texas?
bro.
Okay, I'm with it. I mean, I wanted to too, but I can't get disowned by my family. So
What did he say? What did he say? He's going?
He going Texas.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna go Longhorn.
Do it again. Do it again.
Thanks, Will.
There you go.
Hook him.
He hooked him up. All right.
I'm
What you
going
got?
with Georgia. I picked Georgia before, and when Matt picked Texas, it cemented that I'm going to stick with Georgia. But if Matt had picked Georgia, I'd have probably switched to Texas. So I can pick something different than him.
All right,
but I got Georgia.
Okay.
I wanted to be competitive. I'm not.
Yeah, for sure. I look right now. I'm thinking about what I can pick to stay where I'm at. That's where I'm at, dude.
Right, I got you.
I just don't see Georgia beating them twice. I think they're gonna watch that game film. They're gonna be ready, but fuck, dude, you can't take it. Georgia has been there the last 3 years. It's hard, dude.
Yeah.
The other thing I don't really want to happen is, even though I live in Texas, I live in the fourth biggest city in America, Houston, Texas, and I'm proud to be a Texan now. I don't want Texas to come to the SEC and win their first year there, because all they're going to be doing is talking shit. And I've been a SEC fan since I'm almost 50 years old. I've been an SEC fan since I was little, so I want them to simmer a little bit before they win a championship.
You want them to earn their way in. I get it.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. Like, for real, they're earning the shit out of their way in. I just don't want them to win the first year.
I mean, but okay, we don't. Yeah. Are they? I mean, they beat A&M, which I thought that was going to be a closer game. But other than the Georgia game, there's a lot of teams they've played on their schedule, and they're part of the SEC. That are not the other. They didn't play Alabama, right? Alabama's different, but they're not playing Tennessee. They're not playing all the hard hitters, right? They didn't play LSU. The ones that are the cemented ones in there, I think that's just coming in. Whereas Oklahoma, they got a dose of all of them boys, and look where they're at.
Oklahoma got fucking.
You know what I mean? Like, just differences. But don't take anything away from Texas, man. They are good.
Definitely.
I threw up saying that,
good.
but
So we got the Army. We got the Army and who?
Tulane Greenway. I told y'all Tulane was good.
Tulane beat the shit out of Navy. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And I almost picked him, and Scott made me feel guilty.
Yeah, but Tulane also got beat this last weekend.
Yep.
I'll make the pick first. I'm pulling for Army. I'm pulling for Army the whole year. Army. I think Tulane's a good team, but I'm going with Army. Fuck that.
I like at the end of everyone thinking like, fuck that other team. Fuck that.
I'm already losing. Who gives a shit?
And Tulane, ain't that where our boy Christian Stover went to college? Tulane didn't
yes, sir.
Go to Tulane?
That's where he went.
Sorry, Captain. But
hey, Christian, he won't be mad at you. He an LSU fan, bro.
Oh man, that's gonna be another ugly game for me.
All right, what you got, Matt?
See, I see what you did there.
Come on, man.
I'm going Tulane, bro. Tulane's winning.
All right.
Because they're are you? Well, yeah, the Army is home, but Tulane's winning.
Yeah, it is. It's an Army home game.
Yeah.
It's
home because Tulane lost to Memphis.
Yeah, it's not even at like.
Go Tigers, go!
It's at that little one by the water. All right. Who you got? Scott.
Brother, I had to say this. I feel like this will be the year that the Army is going to go ahead and fight and get it right. I am going to stick my chest out and say the Army is going to win that game. Go Army, beat Tulane.
Oh, you almost slipped up there. What you got, Jovan?
I'm gonna have to tip my hat to the home team. I think that Army has about its best chance, being that they're playing at home and Tulane coming off that loss last week. So I'm gonna roll with Army.
Yep.
There you go. Well,
what you got there, Mr. Army Tie?
Yeah, right.
I'm picking Army too. That's obvious. I'm picking Army.
Okay.
Thank you.
Matt's going 0-2 this week.
For Matt to get back, or he gonna fall?
Matt's going 0-2.
Yeah.
Get out of your mind, bro.
Bob says he hopes Army wins, but he's going with Tulane. Huh.
See?
Blue.
Now, if Army was wearing them fresh ass airborne uniforms, I probably would have changed my pick.
Oh, next week I'll have a preview of all that from that.
Oh, bro,
video you sent me them uniforms are freaking slick.
I'm buying a jersey.
Oh, dude, not even. I contemplated buying an Army jersey too, just because they look good. However, because of everything you see behind me, my name's not Al Hero, and I will not discredit my service. And there's no way I'm ever going to pick against the Naval Academy with the Army, and I will never buy an Army jersey, even though I have Army family.
I'm going to mark this down. I'm picking Army over Navy this year too. So fuck the Navy.
Damn, bro.
Oh, you just rogue, man. We rogue, bro. What's going on?
How do we like?
Did you take your medicine today?
Can we change this 214?
No, I don't think he took it. I don't think he took his medicine today.
I did take my medicine. I'm gonna take my special meds later on when we get to this podcast.
No, he did take his medicine. That's why he's like, "Fuck this." Yeah, you know what I mean?
He took a Roku. He took one of the Roku and one of them blue chews.
Hey,
took a blue chew and a Roku.
Maybe to the best part of my life. The Army never did nothing for the Navy. Navy got me 100% disability, bastards.
Dang, you mad about that? Okay, well.
No. I cash that check every first of the month. You know what I'm saying? Hey, you cash that check though. Believe that shit.
Oh, look at that! Now you got old Will Carmona over here.
Sorry, Will. My bad.
He's happy as hell that you picked the Navy or to lose, right?
I did.
This is shame.
Hey, you should show the Navy video of them fucking 4 people on that ship twerking and dancing like some freaking idiots. Dude, that's what the Navy has become. Twerk videos on the deck of warships. Yeah. Can't pick them.
Have you seen the goal-making videos in recruiting?
They're pretty bad. Good job, Jerry Alton.
Horrible. Yeah, that was a good idea.
Yeah. Well, it's my night to do the dishes, fellas. I gotta go wash dishes. My wife is looking at me like, "Hey, don't think that this little cute little podcasting that you're doing is gonna get you out. Get you out, buddy. Them dishes is not going to bed. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to bed with them dishes in that sink. So I gotta get it.
Well, I would tell you from my end, real quick, Javon, thank you for coming on.
Yes,
I appreciate you coming on. I love all you guys. I don't have much to say today, so DJ, you can take it out, and you don't need to worry about asking me.
All right. Well, then I'm gonna go to my man Jay. Like you said, I'm gonna piggyback what Matt says. It's been a pleasure, man, sitting and chilling with you for these hours that we had you. Is there anything that you got to give to the people before we get out of here tonight?
Hey, you know what? Once again, I want to thank you guys for providing me a space, a safe space to be able to share my experiences, my thoughts, and my past in a very productive and a very reflective way. Shout out to my guy Al Hero, man. He and I's relationship is a testament that stands the test of time. Just like most military relationships, I cannot talk to him for 5 days or 5 months, and in some cases 5 years. And when we get back on the phone, and it's like we were just together yesterday. So thank you for bringing me into your circumference and giving me an opportunity to share this space with your brothers, man. It's clear that you guys all rock together. You guys remind me of Voltron. You guys, you just need that fifth lion.
Yeah.
You might need a little somebody to make a couple little cameos here and there, man. Just kind of bring a little West Coast flavor, man. You guys got everything except for that West on here. But no, in all seriousness, man, thank you. Keep doing what you guys are doing, man. You guys are impactful. You're making a difference. Whether you're dealing with somebody that is star-studded and a household name for people to recognize, or average, everyday, run-of-the-mill people like me that's just living out their best life while chasing their magnificent obsession, man. Keep providing this platform, this space. Keep being yourselves, and hopefully I'll get that ring back, Bill, the devil back, man, and share a little bit more perspective with you fellas at some point.
All right, man. We appreciate you, man.
I appreciate you.
Bless you, bro.
Much.
Yes, sir. Oh, you've been gone
Hey,
for
mine
so
easy, bro.
long.
I just want to say I love everybody, man, and I appreciate my boy Mo coming on, man. I told Ty today before he came on that he was gonna really, that Wax Poetic was gonna come out, and I really want to just say, hey, to everybody out there listening, to Jovan's point towards the end, if you're struggling with something, or you need somebody, or you just need a shoulder to cry on, a bended ear, call somebody. Don't make the ultimate decision that's going to change not only your life, but everybody around you. Make sure you reach out to somebody. You are loved, you are cared for, and somebody's expecting you to be there for them tomorrow. And if you make a bad decision that you can't take back, you're not going to be there for them. So, and if you need something, we're here, man. I love you. And like I always say, don't sweat the petty stuff, pet the sweaty stuff. I love y'all. Pimping ain't easy.
My man. And to my God, my brother from another mother, you know who you are. The big dog. TY, what you got for us, bro?
As always, I'm real thankful to be able to do this podcast every week. And when we get insight from Jovan and be able to share things like that, like he said, you know, the big podcasts that have all the war fighters on there that have done all the crazy stuff, that's great stories to hear. But the things that I want to hear is about regular veteran success stories, going out after the military and teaching some of the things that you learned in the military to the people that he's teaching in high school. And as soon as I get off here, I'm going to go right over to this computer and send you another invite. We got to get you back on here. Love you. It's been a great show, and we'll see you soon.
My man. All right. Well, I do want to say, since we are getting through Thanksgiving and all you turkeys have celebrated your birthday last Thursday, I want you guys to get your feathers in line. You got a whole nother year to get your feathers in line and get your behind back here for another Thanksgiving. But in order to do that, you got to take baby steps, one step at a time. The only way that you can get to where you're going is one step at a time. If you miss a step, it's okay. Retract, use your other foot, and keep on moving forward. All right? Quitters never win, winners never quit. So you've got to be too legit to do that shit. All right? Make sure that you take care of yourself, take care of your friends and your family. Love somebody. It's okay. It's easy. Smile at somebody. That's a free thing to do. Doesn't cost you anything. Being kind doesn't cost you anything. All right? Be approachable. It's life, man. We're all here to share this time and these moments together and just make it peaceful and as accommodating as you can. If you can do that for me, then we're going to win. All right? I love you guys. This is DJ World T. This is the Triple Threat Bet Podcast. Shout out to my man, Jovan. And we out of here, y'all. Until next week.